All right.
Good.
I know he's in. You're never gonna get started on your Adara project?
They're available.
Apparently it's a 8-month process.
Okay.
So.
Time to be patient.
How are you?
Very kind of you. If you run out of patience.
On Tuesday, that was nice, very nice.
Yeah,
get your feet to that now.
They all sounded really, really good.
I'm not reading.
The songs will do it.
I sit on that.
In fact, I've got a rehearsal tonight.
It's something.
That general conference on.
Leave.
I was gonna say Saturday afternoon session, but then I was like, oh, Saturday, yeah.
Yes, Saturday afternoon.
They don't, they're not doing it anymore, it's Saturday night one, right? Yeah.
No, we have.
So we'll be,
That's what I need.
rehearsal tonight recording.
I've got two guys that work with the temple.
Good. Good.
Tell them about it.
How are you?
How are you doing? One of them, both of them.
Pizza and pop.
Came up here. Family.
Already.
Didn't buy a house.
How do you do? So grab you some, bring it in and you can eat while you talk. If we keep your mouths full, then nobody will have any response.
Listen, the formatting on this thing, so 76.
So they're just,
I'm-
I mean,
I'm-
it's.
Yeah, but that's how.
I'm just gonna go ahead now.
Well, that's why we send you your notification in the clean.
Yeah.
Just you see what it's gonna be, but we want you to also see what it is.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I can be like, no.
One, there's some pizza in the room next door if you wanna grab some.
I just can't believe it.
Aaron and Bill, there's some pizza in the room next door, if you wanna grab some real quick. You don't have to.
I don't know, I'll just grab the
I'd
chair.
love to.
I don't know who's here.
For Lent, we're doing no gluten, no dairy, so.
Oh, are you? Okay.
You're with that?
Right, well then forget I did it.
Pizza. You gotta go this way, that's, you have to have a key card to get through that way. Okay.
Put it right there.
You probably going around when the old school, remember that?
Better to have it than
Oh,
not.
really?
You had to.
My mother always threatened me with her.
2003?
That's not a man, you had a. That's not.
So you survive in the world, Aaron?
Well, that's not good.
I think I did by day. All you can do, sometimes minute by minute, right? Yeah, depending on my 7-year-old. 7-year-old, that's a fun age, right?
Yeah.
An interesting age, very intelligent, very
No, I don't want.
starting to discover that they're the smartest person in the world.
Yes.
Everybody else is dumb.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's smart.
It makes it even more.
He's just not intelligent. He's just.
Book smart right now, he has got street smarts to go with it.
Pretty smart, no.
Oh,
It's blocked all the time. Anything new out in your neck of the woods?
far out.
Is that where you live?
Yeah, the wind is making sand drifts.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's the road just north of me.
Yeah.
They had sand drifts 3/4 of the way across the road.
It's okay.
Three times.
Yeah.
3 times. So
Three
they're just
times.
having to go through.
They do it, and the county come back and push it back, and they do it again. Like, the county come in and took out the fence line and everything, so it would pile up against it. Now it's on the neighbor's property.
Oh, it just kept rolling.
It just goes, moves across the road and piles it over there. So the neighbor lady, she's got a big huge drift in her front. Just going through lawn and everything.
So, I mean, I know we get wind every year, but isn't this a little?
Familiar enough from a long time ago.
Unusual. Biggest problem is we've had a lot.
Challenge the kids to get their chores done so we can go to the.
So there's no moisture. So that's creating a lot.
Right. So it's.
Yes.
Amplifying the effect.
Farmers, for some reason, they don't plant a cover crop. Most of the other guys have got where they plant the something in the fall, so. it's
Technically possible.
it's almost anyway.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Great.
Yeah, we had we just put boulders on top of the hot tub cover and then broke all the cracks. But then even with boulders on it, we had to drain it. It was full of sand. I don't know how it got through.
Oh, it gets through.
Oh, wow.
In terms
The
of.
wind, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like.
a couple. Yeah, my shop, have an office in my shop,
Yeah,
and it looks like nobody's been in there for 10 years, just covered in dust.
dust,
And I go, oh man, I got
like Oklahoma.
Kansas City Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
One time before.
You know, they actually did some research, for samples out of the sand hills, and were able to prove that some of that came from Kansas and in the dust storm.
Can you tell if,
Is
I
that,
called up about that. He said,
Oh.
that was a
Brandon
mistake?
is,
You're supposed to be the golf.
The golf.
I don't get it.
I just got earlier today, but I had to.
He says, I was get in it, get changed.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It wasn't there.
Analysts think that she.
Got my daughter show this movie.
I didn't check.
Yeah.
I guess I checking that report.
Yeah.
What?
Well, if you talk about
I know, if you don't.
Almost.
How long you been on it then?
All right, let's get started, everybody. Thank you for being here early. Hope you're having some good pizza there. We want to go ahead and jump right in so that we've got plenty of time, and we may even still run out of time, but hopefully we can get through it before our time is up. So Alan, go ahead and we'll just let you lead this discussion.
Mayor, thank you guys for showing up. We have had this in front of us for a while, raising some questions. Part of it's to deal with challenges in our community, challenges with the states headed our way. We're trying to get ahead of things. I don't know if we'll ever get ahead of the state. They keep changing it too fast. One forewarning, you are being recorded and you are live. So just remember, any comments you make are going to be official. But let's be careful what we say and do.
The legislature's doing a great job.
Okay. Kyle, will you pull up the spreadsheet? I've got it on there. You just need to maximize it. It's at the bottom, the Excel spreadsheet. I wanted to start out and give you guys a little bit of a history of what's happened with rezones and annexation in the last 11 years. So if you look across here on the left, shows the year. And of course, 25, we've only had one since then. I tried to keep them in 5-year blocks. But if you go across there, you'll see each one of the zones that has made a change, and then the total acres. And then on the very end, how many acres were annexed that year? The yellows are the total for each one of the 5
So these
years.
numbers are total acreages?
Anything in yellow. These up here are, yeah, they're totaled for the year for anything we've done, like in public facilities, LDR 1, 2, all of those different ones, to give you an idea of what's happened. The reason I did this, I wanted to identify what kind of zoning are our citizens asking for? What is it they want? What are they building to? And so by doing this, I got a better picture. Actually, Dan, come on in. You're in the group. There is pizza in the other room if you want to slip in and grab a piece quick.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining. And so this helps me in deciding how to approach our changes we're going to propose to you for tonight. Any questions on what's going on in this chart? Rezoned over 1,000 acres total. We've annexed over 513 acres in that 11 years. Now we're working on a couple annexations that will probably almost match that number just in one application coming up this year. So anyway. Questions?
So the trend that I'm seeing, correct me if I'm wrong, is there's less high density compared to the by previous years, and a lot more medium density and even a lot more LDR ones. So
Okay. One thing you have to keep in mind is the density on those acreages. When I do 1 acre of HDR2, I'm putting 42 units to the acre. If I'm doing LDR1, I'm only putting 4 to the acre.
I understand that, but the previous 5 years had 50 Actually,
CMU, is that multiple units or what is it?
Mixed use.
mixed use.
Mixed use.
Mixed use.
Mixed use.
Oh, mixed use, okay.
We went from over people or rezoning over 100 acres from 2015 to 2019 into HDR.
Mhm.
But from 2020 to 24, only 9 acres, not even 10 acres.
Mhm.
I'm seeing more rezoning towards in favor of larger or sorry, lower density
Mhm.
than high density.
Well, and when you get to that, you have to look at acreage. This is in acres, not in units. So when you look down here at the bottom, I took those totals by the density, and that's how many units you added in each one of those in the last 11 years.
I think
I understand. What's that?
That's maximum
That's
units.
if they maximize the density. And I understand what you're saying. We've done more acreage in the lower density ones.
no, that's not
Is
what
that not what you're saying? Okay.
not what I said. What I said is, if you look at the high density acreage that was added from the period 2015 to 2019, 100 acres was added in that period.
Yes,
In the period 2020 to 2024, we only added 10 acres.
right.
So the trend, I'm saying, is away from the high density and towards the lower density in terms of what we're rezoning.
One of the things you have to look at, they may not have rezoned, but what they have done is they already had ground that was zoned HDR. Because we've had a lot of, what I should do is come in next time and show you the building permits that we have done in this time frame in the same sense. But I understand what you're saying. This says we're trending away from high density.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
That's
regardless of
interesting.
what we're building, the
Mhm.
trend for rezones is away from high density
So,
towards
yeah,
lower.
what you're saying is in the last more recent years, we've rezoned more area to low density.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So we've got a lot of low density.
I'm not commenting on the rightness or wrongness of
Sure.
that.
And none of us
Trying to
are. Just
understand
the trend.
the trend and.
Which is interesting, when you look at the amount of apartments that you see around you, you'd think that it was that everything we're doing in this community is high density, right? I mean, that's what you would think.
Well, probably a lot of that was existing.
But you gotta,
Yeah.
you do have to take into fact that this is last 5 years. That could have been rezoned before that and now just been put in.
Yeah.
So in the last few years, we haven't seen a lot of that, but that could have been rezoned way before this is.
Could have already been in the position it needed to. And we've done a lot of projects here recently that the ground did not need to be rezoned because it was already there. Yeah, a lot of this happened, and it's a good point you bring up, Randall. It's one of those things, statistics will say what you want them to say, if you look at them. One of the trends I wanted you to look at is which ones are not doing anything. Because we still need LDR1, we still need the LDR2, we still need the high density, but what is not happening at all in our city at this point? And that brought us to the first part. So Kyle, if you will open up the sheet, do we have that open? The first one?
I didn't see it long enough.
I think that's the one. I have to get you the one that has the markups in it.
Alan, what was the PRO? We're all,
That's a pro zone that we had, and we did one project with it, and that is Hemmings Village, the very first
it's a
one.
pros.
They come in and designed one specifically for just that, to bring it in to do a test of, does this work for form-based code?
All right, thank you.
So-
We're all like, what?
Yeah.
That's the only area.
Yeah, and it's just sat in reserve until we got form-based that would actually replace it.
Which one was? Oh, I missed that one. That's what we need.
Alan, do we have access to the?
Should have received copies of them. They should have
So
been.
this would be in that, would have been in that, and that's how I would be reading that.
Yeah.
There was a lot to read.
There was, and that's why we have this.
I just looked for red and.
Okay, let's scroll through till we hit the first change. Okay, hold it right there. This is what is in our code that says, here's the designations for our zoning and which one of the classifications within the comprehensive plan that it fits. So when you see this, the ones you see and crossed out are the ones that we're going to be discussing tonight. Okay, So in the commercial, RBD is residential business district. We have 2 lots and they're up here just above, I can't remember the name of the physical therapy, but it's Dr. Fulmer's old office right on Main Street up towards the hospital and the one next to it. They're the only 2 in the whole city. And it was a zone that was developed way back to kind of make it so we almost a mixed use where we can have residential use or we can do commercial in the same spot. We proposed once of removing this and taking it to commercial, and we had citizens come out and just basically shoot it down completely. And so we looked at that and says, okay, it doesn't fit what they want to do. We will get into what we want to propose that as we get a little further, but we want it to go away and look at moving it into a mixed use, which would require residential and commercial. So then it would fit more of what they're trying to do in that situation. So if we get to that point. Low density 3, this was mentioned in our last time when we were trying to rezone on the Birch property, that you guys felt, some of you did, that LDR 3 should be in low residential rather than intermediate, so that we could get a cap on that before we jumped into medium density and then on up into the higher densities. So that's one of the proposals we're looking at, is just moving that into the low residential.
The only thing I worry about.
Alan,
Oh, go ahead. Is that Brianna?
I think so.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Are we discussing it?
I just wanted to mention that when I got on the council, we had the LDR3 with the LDR1 and 2. We've tried that. And what happened was then it was really hard to have unattached housing in any zone, because then they would build to the townhouses that were in LDR3. So we've tried that, and there was a reason that we put it with MDR.
But we have attached housing in our low residential,
Yeah, but they're twin homes.
right? I'm just
So
going off
I'm
what
just
was
saying,
discussed in the meeting.
I just wanted to let you know that I
Sure.
wanted everyone in the room to know this has happened. We have addressed it. There was a reason, because either place you put it, you're going to have problems. So we've had it in, we've already tried putting it in with the other 2. I just wanted to make sure everyone in the room knew that if you weren't here when that happened.
Sally?
Yeah.
But we've tried the other, now we've tried this, and it's come back to bite us several times in the last couple of years since we changed it big time also. So I guess there's a lot of thought that needs to go into that, but we've just.
And I think it was really.
And it's caused us.
That's why we're doing
Debatable.
this.
It was debated on whether we wanted to change it or not. We ended up doing it, but I'm not sure that was the best thing.
Let's do this. We'll get through this because this is just listing what changes we're proposing. Then we'll get into each zone, and as we do those, then we can discuss, do we
Okay.
want to do that or not?
Right.
So that was a proposal there. One of the things we're looking is removing RR1 and taking RR2, change it to residential estate with a half-acre minimum. Remember, that's a half-acre minimum. They can build them as big as they want. So if they want 1 acre, they want 2 acres.
That was my question.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to lose the R2.
No.
Because like I say, you look at Pine Brook State,
Yes.
that thing's filling
Yes.
completely full, more or less. You look at some of these other, we have very little R2. And
We
there's
do.
a lot of the ones that are permanent, the second or third home, where they want to get in that and have a shop, a garden and stuff. There's nothing out there.
Yeah, and we want to keep that. We want that opportunity for those that want larger lots, want to be able to put a shop in the back and have those things. So we don't want it to go away. We also don't want the ability to go away of people to go to a bigger one if they want 1 acre lots. And the thing to realize is our lot sizes in all of them are minimums. We do not set maximums on any of our lots. So you can do an LDR3, you can do an HDR1, you can do 100 acres and put 1 unit on it. We don't limit that. So now maybe we do in the future, but right now it's never been a problem. Aaron.
So the challenge of building a Pine Brook in today's world, with curb gutter, sidewalk, storm drain, you're looking minimum 200,000 a lot minimum. So I think, is residential estate contemplating curb and gutter, or is it
Yeah.
open?
Curb and gutter. It is ribbon curb, ribbon. Ribbon
Like a
curb.
Willowbrook.
Yeah, it's just well, and in Pine
That's
Brook,
what we got at Pine Brook is.
you just got that strip of concrete at the edge of the pavement.
Oh,
But it does require sidewalk.
You require sidewalk in RR two.
Yes.
I'm having a little heartburn with that, going, if that's, because there are some. You know, a full acre lot, there are just areas that. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's more out in the county, I'm thinking.
You run into the issue, and I've seen this before, when you wander some of these RR1s. You still have people out walking the roads, trying to, just go for a walk in the neighborhood, or kids trying to ride bikes and that. It does put them at a little more risk to be out in the roadway rather than have a sidewalk to walk. And we have very few areas. The only ones we really have is the original Willowbrook and Pine Brook 1. Those are the only two that are RR1 in our city.
And Whittiston.
And Whittiston, sorry, I keep forgetting Whittiston. And they don't have sidewalks. Would it be advantageous for you guys to have sidewalks?
Not in a dead end street.
Well, that's true too.
It works, I mean. A little bit of walking down there, you don't have enough traffic, you don't have enough there, it's dead end.
But if it was a through street, would that be different?
Good. Depends on how wide the street is.
I don't know, I sometimes debate. I mean, I like the sidewalks, but even in my subdivision. My wife and all of her friends go out walking in the morning and then walking on the sidewalks.
Walk down the street.
Because there's 10 of them, so,
The object is what about children?
yeah, they ride their bikes in the street mostly.
Some of them do.
Actually, they drive their golf carts in the street.
Yeah. Well, we're not going down that road. That's a whole section. Yeah. Anyways, let's roll on through, keep moving through.
Good question.
You may.
Alan. So with that, residential estate that, I don't know, rural estate, what are we calling it? Residential estate?
Residential estate.
Estate, is that separating it from the rest will be tag now then? Is that what that
Ag would be your next
separation?
lowest one.
The next lowest one. So instead of having that RR2 or R1 together, we're just combining those two and then tag.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not changing tag. It stays the same. And tag does not require sidewalks.
Yeah.
And we've got a change that we're going to propose in that one, but we're not taking it away. And we're not requiring sidewalks in there either.
Just because right now we still have that in the city, but.
Yes, we have a
but
lot
when
of
we
tag.
don't have it in the city, then that can change things as well. Is that what I'm hearing?
So what's driving that change?
Mhm.
Nobody
We had
wants
issues. What's that?
Nobody?
Nobody wants RR1s. The city has never rezoned to RR1 ever.
What's the minimum acreage in RR1?
1 acre.
1 acre limit, okay, 1 acre, nobody seems to want one.
Now, you're looking at me like, Alan, you're feeding me a line here, because we have RR1.
The people.
Every single
People want it.
RR1 that the city has was inherited from the county.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever asked to rezone to RR1 in
And-
the city. Yeah,
But you do have a couple of neighborhoods that will probably come into the city that are full acre lots.
Exactly.
and they'll come in as residential estate.
Yeah, and they're not gonna like that.
It isn't gonna matter. They're not gonna make them change anything.
I'm
Of
thinking of Quail Hollow.
course, they're fighting to even be considered taken into the city.
I know, but it'll happen one day.
It will.
I'm just saying that's one.
Why would they not like that designation over RR1?
Well, I mean, probably sidewalks and curb and gutters are too big.
I think they already have curb, don't they? Ribbon curb?
No,
No.
Oh, they
not
don't?
right to the
Okay.
grass.
I didn't know if they did.
So if they become part of this residential estate, does that mean they're gonna have to change?
Not until they sell their house.
So when the house is sold, then it will need to
We
change.
brought up to the current standards. We require sidewalks at that point.
See, that's where it come a big.
yeah, and you're talking about full acre lots, lots
That
of
would be-
frontage. It's gonna be a real expensive.
That would be
It is.
expensive. Yeah, that'd be a huge
Expensive
expense.
thing. So I've got
I do
a
too.
little bit of heartburn there. We'll address it as we go.
Okay.
Hmm.
This is the residential. We're just pulling it out of these zones in the districts if we decide to go that direction. And it's just showing that. Keep on going, Kyle. That's the RBD one. Rural residential there. This one, we're gonna scroll through it quick. This is just what would be removed out of our permitted uses if these changes go into effect. So we can go clear through all the permitted uses. We just want to show you everything when you look through this that would change. Keep going all the way through. I think your first one is,
And another thing to changing off to R1, too, just throw this back out while you're scrolling down, the livestock, things you have on that. it
Still
changes
in
that
there.
Too.
It does.
just in LDR3. Everything else stays the same.
Have livestock everywhere.
No, once you get up into medium, we don't allow livestock.
I'm thinking there's one here.
No comfort animals. Comfort donkeys.
Next to apartment.
Last year and I didn't see.
Hey, don't laugh. I know somebody that has a comfort horse in an apartment,
In an apartment?
in an apartment.
What's the zoning? They're just south of you.
Okay, keep going down. This is just in the parking. It would change in those. Keep going.
Do they have sidewalks? It's gotta be that RR1.
Okay. Again, this is just home business. We're just removing them if they get changed. Now we're starting into the first one. And this just basically says if you choose to move forward, RR1 would just disappear out of the code. So everything's blanked out on that. So I guess before you get into RR2, now we need to have the discussion on RR1. Reasons for keeping it. No sidewalks.
No curb.
Well, the new ones would have to have.
Yeah, that's what
curb.
I'm saying, but
So you gotta look at the future of new ones would have to have curb. They just would not have to have sidewalks. So that's the one disadvantage. What are the advantages of taking them into the residential estate?
Currently, is there a difference between, when it comes to livestock, is there a difference
It's
between,
between the two.
okay, so that would, nothing like
Nothing
that.
there changes. Mhm. So the only difference we have in here is the sidewalk. So a new zone coming in, if they come in and ask for our residential estate, they would have to put a sidewalk, they would have to put the ribbon curb in. That's the only difference, sidewalk alone.
and you got some of them acre lot, acre and a half, 2 acre lots. My acre lot, 2 acre lot.
It is.
So it's,
But does anybody come in and rezone for 2 acre lots anymore?
but once they sell.
Oh, then they'd have to put it in.
Then
Then you have
requires
to
all
put it
that
in.
because you're in the new zoning. That's the heartburn, that's the.
Now, we could put a clause in there that says you're grandfathered in and we don't require you to add the sidewalk.
Or can we just drop sidewalk?
Or we could drop
What
sidewalk.
if, what if
But
we?
I don't like that in when they get down to half acre ones.
Why not?
You're in the city and most people expect sidewalks.
Yeah, but.
We
Just from
get
a,
quite a few people that call and go, why aren't there sidewalks here?
Yeah, it's a safety issue. I'm on half acre. I prefer sidewalk. For all the kids, I prefer sidewalk.
You have sidewalks, right? You have sidewalks in your subdivision.
Yeah, we don't have
We
curb.
will completely eliminate the possibility of having large lots.
In
Oh,
in
yeah.
the city.
They won't be able to afford it, because you're gonna have to, if you got.
But he's doing them
Even,
now.
I'm just thinking of areas that are adjacent to the city, for example. Like maybe up on Vanderbilt's, or
Yeah.
Vandersloot's.
Same thing.
Same boat, Rich.
Yeah.
His acreage up there, if I could see, I could see maybe wanting to develop. When you say estates, estates, something that's, a larger lot. That they could, and then we eliminate that as a possibility in the city limits. Practically, we would eliminate it because of the cost.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Oh, sorry, are you still talking? I'm so sorry.
No, you're
So hard
good.
when I can't see. Haven't we already had LIDs where we've required someone with a half acre lot to put in sidewalk?
That I wouldn't know for sure, but probably.
Yeah, I'm sure we have.
I mean, I don't feel like this is new. We've already been requiring residents to do it. I know some of those lots are bigger
we did back off on those on 7th South because they were the 1 acre lots.
Yeah, I think this is part of a bigger problem that, we're trying to look at right now because I, as much as I hate LIDs, because I really do, but if we don't have sidewalk connectivity as our city expands, we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot. Because how are we ever going to connect all our sidewalks if we, so I think both sides of that, and we've already had residents with bigger lots and we've required them to put in sidewalk. We've already done this.
I don't see a downturn, just leave R1 on there. Who cares if they don't apply for it? We're not losing nothing by leaving it there. We're not, I mean, what are we gaining to really take it off? Other than when you look at, when we start annexing these other neighborhoods out further out, like out by Hibbard and out Quail Hollow, when we start those big neighborhoods, all of them, and then they're gonna fight being annexed because of some of this. And if we just leave it in there, it was really hurting that type of neighborhood.
Well, that's a possibility.
Is there a,
Well said.
is there a maybe a standard to which we could determine when sidewalks are needed, like maybe some kind of a traffic count number or something? Cause you get like some of these, I mean, like Quill Hollow or some of these subdivisions that are like a loop, or they're not really high traffic, where, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I look at some of these. My daughter lives in Salt Lake, and she lives in a subdivision that there's not a lot of traffic. It's an older subdivision up there on the hill, and there's no sidewalks, and I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but I don't know. I just wonder if sometimes we are saying, well, it's a safety thing, but is it really? I mean, when you get these really low traffic areas that just don't have a whole lot of traffic through them. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm just throwing that out. I'm not
half-
necessarily advocating for it. I'm just
When you
throwing
get down
that
to
out.
1/2 acre lots, then you've got a certain density of people
Yeah,
that I think probably would require sidewalks.
yeah.
But when you get to a full acre lot or larger, it just doesn't make a lot of, I mean, then the density is so low
Mhm.
that, sidewalk is not, it's not as big of a safety issue.
So can I ask you a question on that? Who's gonna build on a lot more than an acre? 1 or 2 acres? What people are buying those
In town.
in town?
Well,
Especially within the city limits.
and nobody, obviously, 'cause we haven't zoned any to that.
And how many R2s have we done?
Well, you go back on, they're all filled up because of that.
Because
Because
nobody
there's nothing
wants to
there.
do another one. And Aaron, why's the reason nobody's doing our R2s? Market
And that's
force.
why, to me, that's not
It's too
true.
expensive.
To me, that's not true here, because you go to Idle Falls, they have the bigger lots. You go to Napa, they have the bigger lots. It's just, you get the next generation up. You get 2 or 3 generations up.
So what's happening in our community?
Yeah.
What's happening in our community that they're not building in the city?
So
Well, they're filled up what we have, so eventually it possibly will.
That's part of it, but what's the biggest reason?
Then go build outside the city in the county.
They go to Burton, they go to Archer, they don't have to follow the rules and the land's cheaper.
But I go back to what I said earlier. What is it problem just leaving it there? It's not changing. We're really not doing anything different other than as we annex. It's definitely gonna influence when we bring in the Hibbard, or we bring in Paul, we bring in those other ones. It's definitely gonna cause a massive pushback.
Which if they don't want to come in, great. Stay out.
Well, that's not true because I was forced to annex in.
I know.
So
Some will be, some won't,
even though
and that's the risk we face. But this,
when I said it, I mean, it was a force annex. It wasn't
Right.
ass. It was, you're coming in, all of a sudden, then you're gonna require me to do all this other stuff because we changed the code.
not to-
That's what I'm saying.
Not
It's
to-
not a problem, just leave it there. It's not hurting nobody.
buyer would,
What?
you wouldn't have to, the buyer would have.
No, I
No,
was the one that was.
here's the
Is
thing
is
that happens.
Would it be the buyer that would have to put that in?
Yeah, what we say is, when that land comes up for sale, we tell the buyer, well, you have to put the sidewalk in. He's gonna go back to the seller and say, you lower his price. or you
And,
put the
and,
sidewalk
and
in."
the issue of curb and gutter in those established neighborhoods, you can't do that without redoing the road.
You can, if you're careful. They can come in and do a ribbon curb
Leave it.
and just put it at the edge. They've done it before, but, so here's a challenge. Should we put curbs in our R1? Ribbon curb. Why do we put ribbon curb in? Does anybody know, Jim?
It stops the grass from growing into.
Stops the grass from growing in, it stops those edges from crumbling. So it's a protection for our roads.
So
Please don't
Oh.
ever put any ribbon curbing up on the hill anymore. Ask Keith.
Full curb. Full curb on the hill.
Not in front of me. It's ribbon and it comes.
I know. I says we need a full curb. Then we need drains for it to go into. Yeah.
They're coming in.
Oh, yeah,
so in RR1, there's no ribbon curve at all right now.
I believe it has. It does not?
No, it has ribbon.
It has ribbon curb now.
Does require, it, yeah.
Yeah,
It just.
Hang
it
on.
just does not have sidewalks.
But we're not enforcing that if they sell their home, obviously.
When they come in and rebuild the road, the LID will put it in. Which then the citizen pays for it.
Personally, I agree with Colin. I don't see any reason why we don't just leave it in. It gives an option, whether it's ever used or not, is, it may never be used, but at least it's an option for somebody to, that's got more money than sense to, build 2-acre lots in the middle of the city. It's an option.
Makes sense, you can build it.
But if it never gets used, why do we have it?
Or these.
Well,
annexations.
just for that possibility.
Brianna, you had a question or a comment?
Oh, I was saying, I want to make sure I'm following because I can't, some of it I think I'm missing. But so are Colin and Eric saying just to leave those so that we wouldn't have to make the 1-acre lots put in sidewalk?
Correct.
No,
Yeah.
just leave it as an option.
Option.
Well,
Yeah.
You
No,
answered it.
I agree with you because if we ever make people annex in and then we make them pay for that much sidewalk, it's just like those bills are going to be so huge. So I see a difference too between the half-acre and the acre. Like I agree with what you were saying that those acre lots may not be in highly trafficked areas.
I say it doesn't hurt to leave it.
Okay, these are the reasons we bring it to you guys, because you're the ones who are going to make the decisions on it. You're also the ones who are gonna face the people when they come screaming and hollering at you for making you put a sidewalk in. So what I'm hearing from you is leave our R1 alone.
It's,
Okay, let's move on to now. Can we change the name to Residential Estate 1 and Residential Estate 2? We are no longer rural. We're not a rural country.
I don't care.
Okay.
About a state.
Well, estate, most people, when you get to a larger one, they're looking at estate.
Okay.
And I searched the web and just says, what do you call larger lots in a city? And that was one that almost consistently
With the state.
came up from different cities of what they call those.
I now live on a state.
Right?
Yeah, who was dumb enough to buy a half-acre lot on a corner? So I have to do
sidewalks in
Our R2, our R2 requires it. Yes.
Okay, so that's a half-acre.
Half
Got
acre.
enough in me?
Okay, just trying to.
No, it's good to ask. This is the time to ask if you're not sure, not quite sure. Quick one.
Can you grandfather in and make new required with sidewalk and curb and gutter?
So I like what Vince is saying because the last time we met to do this and we were talking about people and businesses downtown, I remember specifically asking, so when someone buys a new business, they don't have enough parking for their business. And that's when you said they're grandfathered in. So I think there's an idea there that could be a possibility. Yes? No?
Yes, it could be. That would be something that you could say, let's take the RR1 out, but if you come into the city in 1-acre lots, you're grandfathered. As you come in, you're grandfathered that way.
Because we do that for our businesses.
We do it in a lot of things. We do it in a lot of things. If you have a business established and it does not meet current code, I cannot force you to bring it up to code unless you spend more than 50% of the value of that property. So then you have to stay in it. Now, that's even with life safety. If you have a house that does not have egress windows in the basement and it's been built since 1940, I can't come in and make you put egress windows in.
Is that because of our code currently?
No, that's just state
The
law.
state law?
basically. I
It's
can't,
the state law.
I don't know if it's state law, but it is one of those things, we can't force you to come in.
Not a Soviet state.
Now,
Another argument, sure, not argument, but,
Comment.
like, for example, we rezoned, Bruce Shirley's
Yeah.
property right there at the end of Moody Road
Yes.
to a 5 or 6 1-acre lots, if I remember. 8 1-acre lots. It's in a little compact area. Asking them to put sidewalks in,
They have to anyways.
why?
Because
They're LDR3, because you just rezoned it to LDR3 and it's going to townhomes.
Did we?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that blows that out. But
Yes, it's on the end of Moody Road. Bruce Max Shirley's property. Yeah, they rezoned it and went to 8. And then a guy come in and bought it and he rezoned it to LDR3 so that he could put townhomes on that.
Oh.
So can I
Well,
say a
but-
couple?
It's
So-
still the same.
I called Megan when we were doing I don't know her last name now. It's not coming to me. When we did the comprehensive plan and she came in when they came and helped us from Colorado. Megan Moore. And I asked her what our goal was again, like remind me what the goal is for a city and what a city needs to look like. And one of her comments was the sidewalks need to be interconnected from neighborhood to neighborhood, hoping people will either ride their bikes or walk the sidewalk instead of using the road as an option. And so sidewalks are necessary when we live in a city. So just keeping that part in mind, because then that could save our roads a little bit if people are able to walk to, if they have a place to go buy their groceries or whatever, they have the option of walking in a safe way like that. So just something about sidewalks just to keep in mind. So I understand neighborhoods and things, but this is something to keep in mind for, there need to be that trail sidewalk situation throughout a city. That's part of an element of a city that is a good working city, is what she told me. So that one thing. Another thing you had asked, well, nobody's buying the RR2 or want the lots that big or whatever, R1s, whatever. In Rexburg, and I looked it up just a few weeks ago, in Rexburg, I checked the census, we have in our single family dwelling homes, that's the only thing I looked at, was that in the census, 25% are homeowner occupied, 75% of them are rented. So if I looked anywhere, other places, Pocatello, Idaho Falls, I looked other places, it was flipped. So we're backwards on stability as far as homeowners occupying their homes. So when you ask, why aren't we getting that? It's because we're renting out everything that we're building.
To college students.
And it could be to college students, it could be to other people, but if we're 75%, 25%, that's a huge difference. And so for stability in a community, what do we need to have in the community? So again, I asked Megan about that and she said in each little pocket within a 1 mile radius, it's good to have all of the different zones in it so that if someone wanted to move to that zone, they could move from house to house and stay in the same neighborhood if they wanted to.
Summerfield's a prime example.
So Summerfield would be an example of
Your
that.
townhome to twin homes to full-sized homes and larger full-sized homes.
With the exception of, there's not an LDR1 necessarily.
It's all
in
LDR2 and
that.
3.
Yes.
It
So,
allows all forms of single-family residences.
yes, it does. So I think that's why nobody's asking for that too, is because it's not being built. Developers who come in aren't wanting to build or sell land so people can build like that.
Developers build to the demand.
So,
That's what.
and
drives them to
where do the
doing it.
pencil makes
It's
sense,
got to pencil out.
right?
Some of you were involved, and not everybody, in the rezone up in Hidden Valley above where Jim lives. They went to LDR2. They were granted that. They went and ran their numbers and they walked away from the project. They says, we can't make it pencil.
Can't make it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
'cause
said,
if you're gonna develop 1 acre lots, it's punitive to build them in the city.
yes,
You're just gonna go and do it in the county.
yes.
There's no reason to spend all that money extending water, sewer and storm when you can do well septic.
And that's the reason why we're not building 1 acre lots in the city, because of that.
It's
It doesn't
without
pencil.
cost.
Yeah, it's the cost. So that's the reason. It's not because people don't want it, because I do believe that people want to have space for whatever stage their family is in at the time. They want to be able to move from stage to stage, and then they may land back where they started in a starter home. That's one level where we don't have stairs.
Yeah.
But that's the reason.
Mhm.
So it's not because people don't want it, but it's because that's what pencil won't give us.
They don't want it within the city
Are you arguing for
sidewalks.
sidewalks in RR1?
No, not,
Or doing away with RR1, or what are you arguing?
oh, I am just giving information for one.
Okay.
Just giving information. And then for two, I really like the idea that Vince stated, if we can put a grandfather clause in this spot for these people, maybe they've lived there for forever or whatever, and then this could be an option. But then also we need to remember that, I mean, I'm looking at right across from us at Willowbrook, we've got the big field right there behind Summerfield to the south. It would really be nice for there to be a sidewalk along that whole thing so the kids could actually walk to school. Right now, there's not a sidewalk for them to walk to school, so it's not safe, especially on that road.
And zone that as RR1, you would not get a sidewalk.
So that's the thing is if that front became an RR1 that someone wanted for that, which they don't because it doesn't pencil, it most likely won't be that. But if it became that and there's a safety, then I think we need to start looking at sidewalks when we're looking at roads where children are walking.
So let's look at, give me just a second, Bill.
No, no problem. Go ahead.
If you look at Pine Brook, Pine Brook's sitting on the edge of our city. Now, there's some development around it that's outside in the county and everything else. The future is there's plans for that to develop. Aaron's working to the west. There's stuff happening that way. There's stuff to the northwest that's being discussed. These are all properties that are looking at coming in. Before long, Pine Brook is going to be in the center of a large city. Because as Hibbert's growing out, you have two developments going to the north that are, one's been approved, the other one's in front of P&Z for the county. They're going in at one or less acres. Some of them are coming in at 3/4 of an acre and the county's allowing them to do. Eventually, that Pine Brook.
Septic tanks?
It's that.
The septic tanks in 3/4 of an acre?
To say.
They let them count, they let them count the
Health department will
roads.
let them do that?
They let them count the roads in their acreage.
Oh, is that how they get it?
That's how they got away with it. We don't allow that. And so what I'm trying to get at is eventually there's going to be people on the north side of Pine Brook walking through Pine Brook to go to the golf course or to visit friends and everything else. It's not going to stay this enclave all by itself in a county.
Yeah, but I wonder,
But they're also
they,
small.
if they're walking, like you're saying, from north to the golf course or down towards maybe Hibbert's or whatever, they're walking along 12th West. And so I agree. I think we need to have a good sidewalk system for walking along the main roads, for biking, things like that. But I guess I'm not a total convert to the fact that we need sidewalks in the subdivisions where it's just very low
I
traffic.
agree with that.
I mean, I don't know. I like the looks of them, but I don't know if it's necessary.
Was it Castle Pine Road out next to 20 in your subdivision?
Oh,
That's designed to connect to the north.
yeah.
So you're going to have people driving through there and it's going to become a
Oh,
traffic zone. And you're going to have more people coming through.
yeah, a little bit. I don't know. I think
It depends on what they
I
build
think
there.
people will still drive on 12th West.
They may, if the movie overpass goes in, they may just bounce over. But you are going to have more people driving in that way. And I'm not arguing for or against, I'm just trying to explain the.
Yeah,
reasons.
and actually, I'm not either. I'm just kind of trying to think through it and go, because it's true. The sidewalk requirement is a deterrent. It's a lot of money. In fact, I'm amazed at how much sidewalks cost. It doesn't seem like they should.
It's horrendous. They shouldn't because concrete's way overpriced.
Yeah.
A yard. I mean.
I know, it's just crazy. We need to invent a new kind of concrete.
Alicia.
I'm neutral on all of it, but what the mayor just said just made me think about the costs are only gonna go up for sidewalk, right? Like, it's only gonna
Possibly.
get more expensive, so
You get it crashing.
if we don't require that when they're changing or when they're selling their homes or something, then we're never gonna have that connectivity. And we gotta think long-term almost. We gotta think 10 years from now versus what's gonna give them some heartburn right now, but 10 years from now, That's what we keep getting from the citizens is that we're not thinking ahead. So that's just something to keep in mind too, is that we might need to think ahead and what are the costs gonna be 10 years from now when we're doing an LID out there? Is it gonna be even more expensive than it would be for them to sell their house? I'm
Yes,
just,
I guess,
I'm not.
I guess what I'm
just-
trying to think through is. I totally agree that we need sidewalks in, the high traffic areas, the 7th South, the 12th West, all of those areas where they're kind of main connector roads. But do we really need them within the subdivisions where they don't really, I mean, they're just loops, to get out to 12th West or things like that. I don't know.
I
I'm
would
just
argue that you
really,
never know when a road's gonna become a main road. Like,
well.
I would-
you can look at a lot of
where I
things.
live on Second North and K Street, and people use that all the time to get around Main Street. And it's become we have traffic all the time, and it used to be very quiet, and now it's getting really busy over there. And that's only been the last 2 or 3 years.
It's almost a dead end.
Yeah, and it's almost a dead end, and it just, so
Well, not
And we didn't
really. I
have
mean,
sidewalks, but-
yeah, I know exactly what, because
Anyways.
I do that. I go past your house, past the
Right.
church. Go up to the inside.
That's where your problem is.
My wife, about 20 years.
Getting back to the question at hand.
Mhm.
I feel like the density makes a difference.
Okay.
So when we get the half-acre lots, I totally agree. I think, and it's more expensive in a half-acre lot than a quarter-acre lot first. But it's twice that to go to a 1-acre lot, twice the half-acre. So all I'm saying is, I would agree that we keep
Leave it there.
R1 in as an option. And then, but then require the sidewalks and everything else.
And they're already required and everything else.
Right. Yeah, so that would be my suggestion.
What's your thought?
Any more thoughts on that?
I would want to make a decision based on a desire to have 100% connectivity. The mayor on this, safety, yeah. But, some need to like connect every single neighborhood to every other single neighborhood. To me, that's not our role.
Yes, it is your role.
I think you have to, you gotta look at our city and the fact of the matter is we're a university community. We're gonna be, I don't care what you say, that's what we'll always be, a university community.
The day the university goes away, our city goes
So you have to look at it and you gotta draw these circles and you gotta say, okay, within this, everything has to be sidewalks. It's gotta be connected. You gotta be able to get kids from here to there. They don't have cars of course, everybody brings their car. But again, you're giving them the option, right? Then you have a second setup, then you step out a little further. And now you go where you've got some people that are going to go out and buy a half-acre lot or whatever. Do we or do we not need the sidewalks there? And then you go out further. And when you're outside of the community where everybody's walking, literally walking, where she was saying you're walking to the store, you're walking to the library, you're walking whatever, you need sidewalks. But if somebody decides, and when you said nobody's doing that, well, of course not. When an acre's costing you $1 million, you're not going to put one house on. You're just not. So,
well,
yeah,
there's a few.
oh, no, I
Because
understand.
I know 3 of them right now. They're exceeding 3 or 4 members.
Yeah.
But still, I think you have to, I agree with some of the statements that have been made here is when you get out far enough to where when you think about a community with half-acre lots, here's the thing. Just go out to Hibbard and watch. Are any kids walking to school? The answer is no. Parents are all driving them to school. Every single
They're
kid.
doing that within the city.
Right? So you go, I think we're not in New York, we're not in San Diego, we're in Rexburg, and we got to think about that our makeup and say, okay, what's going to be best for our community? But if you're in even in your neighborhood, which I love your neighborhood and doesn't have sidewalks, I wouldn't make you guys put sidewalks in out there.
It does.
Too late, we got
Oh,
some.
doesn't
Well, part of it does, the part of it
The
was.
original part.
Yeah, the original part does not.
Cause it's our R1.
And then the newer part does, and that's kind of part of my thought process is, you know, as we walk around the neighborhood. Most people don't walk on the sidewalks, they just walk in the street.
Okay, we're getting short on time. Let's do this. All in favor of leaving our R1 in and no sidewalks, change the name to residential estate 1.
Yeah.
Raise your hands. Okay, stays in. Okay, we're gonna, then RR2, we will just change it to residential estate 2. Okay, so that's what's happening. Now, you'll notice one thing at the head of each one of these, we've run into challenges of people not knowing what their comprehensive plan designation is. So we're gonna put it at the heading of each one of those, which comprehensive plan zone you're in. So that's why that's in there. And we've done it on every single, we want to do it on every single zone.
Hold that.
Well, it'll be,
That's awesome.
it'll stand out and that'll be the first thing you see under RR1. Okay, you're in comprehensive plan, low residential. So we can track that. So that's why that's there. Okay, so that takes care of RR1 and RR2. Let's bounce to LDR1. Whichever one we have coming up next. Did we not, where's LDR1?
Right there.
There. Go back. Yeah, this is it. Okay, scroll down.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay, we cleaned up the purpose and we made it fit a little better. So this is just Katie's ability to write better than I can. It just cleans up the language. It doesn't change any code. It doesn't change anything other than here's why we have this zone. And we've done that on a couple of them. Again, you have the comprehensive plan designation showing. This is an LDR2, same thing. We just rewrote that one. Again, when we bring this to you again, you'll be able to look at the changes you guys have made tonight. So scroll down a little more.
Alan,
Yes.
can you just scroll back up for just a second?
Sure.
When we use the term large lot, medium-sized lot, who defines what that means? What's the
The minimum lot size.
That's just a general description.
General description.
so there is a definition.
Down below it
Okay.
can say, here's the exact minimum. you
Okay,
have.
just want to make sure.
Yes.
There's a if there's no definition, then it'll.
Yeah, there is a.
So, and Alan, did the legislature pass that where we have to allow duplexes and
Hasn't gone through yet.
it hasn't gone through
Kind
yet?
of stalled out.
I don't think, no, it's back in front of them yesterday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It stalled out.
It's stalled and they brought
Stalled
it
out.
forward. So it hasn't died completely. It's back where they're looking at it again. And here's the challenge. If that legislation goes through,
We're-
you guys lose all power to do anything.
Yeah. We're doing
I mean, literally,
We'll be doing this again.
any zone can take it to the maximum
We can't do
density
nothing
you
about it.
allow in this
They
city.
change our whole city.
Oh, so there's no zoning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Well,
from
not-
the state,
State.
state takes
Yeah,
care of
but
the
it-
sides.
There's no differentiation between LDR 1 or 2.
From tag all the way to
Maybe even
HDR2. You lose all ability to do it, to make any designations on size. You can't regulate the parking other than one per unit. Oh, yeah, it's ugly,
Dude,
So why are we doing
who's
this?
the sponsor on that?
because I'm hoping it'll fail.
Good question.
Okay, let's scroll through.
What's driving it?
So
Different people, well, go back to
so
that
I'm going to
one.
discuss the LDR3.
Yeah, I said go back.
comprehensive Plan designations.
Yeah, it should have it in there. Go back down. Okay, LDR3, this is the one we need to discuss. We're proposing that you take it down into the low residential. Here's the thing you need to look at. Low residential is something that is designated for single family residences. Okay? Definition of single family residences are single family detached, single family attached to, and then single family detached or attached to or more. So that takes in single family homes, takes in twin homes, duplexes, and townhouses. Those are all by the building code, single family residences. Okay, so that's why we looked at putting this down into that same area where you're keeping the single family stuff separate from apartment complexes and high density apartment complexes. And then it makes it fit where you can go. And I'll bring up Summerfield as a prime example. You have townhomes, you have twin homes, and you have single family homes in that deal. I think it works well out there the way they have it set up, but it's all single family. Now, some of them are a lot more mobile townhomes. You have people moving in and out a lot more often. But again, that's the starter home we want our kids to start in. Start in this, start gaining some equity, then be able to move into a twin home or move into a single family home. And that's the reason why we think it fits better in there. Then keep your medium density in that intermediate where we've only got the 16 to 20 units, but those are apartment complexes and they have to build them to apartment standards. So it's a whole different set of plans. High density, we're looking at HDR1, HDR2, and mixed use. So now you're getting into those 30 to 42 units. That fits your high density. We want to be able to separate those areas and make sure we're not encroaching in some of these areas where we don't want it to.
What's the density of LDR3?
LDR3 is 10.
Yeah, 10 per acre.
10 per acre.
10 per acre.
I want Brianna to tell us again. Brianna, why did you guys change that? Or what was the problem with the LDR3?
Well, and first of all, I want to say I live in Summerfield, so I actually enjoy having all types in our neighborhood. I agree with that. I think it works out really well. But the problem was what we were seeing was people would come in and say that their proposal fit within the comprehensive plan, but it was all trending towards townhomes because, developers are going to typically try to get the biggest bang for their buck. And so we have no way to make sure that we have unattached housing, because then they can put the townhouses, it fits in the comp plan. Anywhere you have low density in your comp plan, you can have the townhomes. So you run the risk of having townhomes and no unattached housing, but people in this community have to have unattached housing too. And then I recognize the state might just blow all this up and it's not going to matter anyway. But we tried it, and there's problems on either side, I think. So that my point was, it's not gonna fix everything. If you want to stick it back down in low density, you're gonna have a different set of problems.
Well, I agree with you on a lot of that. But there's one factor that comes into play. No matter what that comprehensive plan designation is, city council and P&Z still has the authority to say townhomes does not work in this zone. We have all LDR 1 or 2, and the prime example is what you did on 5th West, where you turned down the change. You just says it doesn't fit here. These are single family homes. Why would we come in and allow townhomes? You still have that authority. You don't have to give it to them simply because the comp plan says so. You got to have a good reason for saying no, but you do have that power to say no.
Right. It's just harder when it fits with the comp plan. It's a lot harder.
It is harder, but you have the reverse of that to where if we keep it up in the other one, they may just automatically go to a higher density and we lose some of that townhouse ability. It's one of those, we have the power to drive where that city goes just in the choices you guys make and what you allow.
Can we put anything in there? Sorry.
Okay.
Can we put anything in there that they have to do a split like Summerfield? Because I can see them come in on LDR3 and go the whole thing, all LDR, and we can't do nothing about that.
But you can say no.
With what reason?
Well, if it doesn't fit,
Legally.
if it does not fit
Yeah.
the location of, let's say they come and want to drop an LDR3 in the middle of all LDR1, that's spot zoning. And you can say, because of spot zoning, we don't feel this fits in the community where we have a lot of single family unattached homes. This would maybe work better over here.
I'll bring up for instance, the Birch property.
Yes.
They come in right now, if this would have been zoned right now down to this, that developer.
Bill said no.
That developer could have put LDR3 in all that whole thing
Yes.
and
he
have
could.
no detached houses.
But you still have.
Yeah, and it would have been harder for us to tell them no. So, and then whenever you have, I can just see zone changes. They'll say this fits within our comprehensive plan. We're going to change the zone to LDR3, and we'll lose our LDR1 and our LDR2 because it's.
Okay, but you got to come back and look at it. LDR 1, 2, and 3 comes back to demand. if nobody's buying LDR 1 or 2, and they are now, I know they're doing that. But if all of a sudden everybody's gone, we're priced out of the market and the only thing we can afford is townhomes, they're going to build to that standard. That's what the developer's going to try to do. So with if there's still a demand for LDR 1 or 2, they're still going to sell. It's a quandary. I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of.
But I think it's more dangerous in the intermediate than it is in the other one.
And why do you say it's more dangerous in intermediate?
Because then you're starting to mix LDR3 into multifamily. So now I'm trying to put a single family townhome in a whole bunch of apartment complexes.
But that's one of the thing was step down, step up that we discussed in the comprehensive plan, that fit.
Which you can do in the low one with the LDR3 in there. You can do that.
I haven't seen that happening. Has that been happening where the townhouses are getting pushed to the apartment complexes like you're saying?
Property, for the British property was to do
Form base.
mix of different types of housing, which I think is kind of like what you were talking about, Tammy, that having that mix of housing so that, like Alan said, if someone likes a neighborhood, they can start out in a townhome. Maybe after 5 or 10 years, they build up enough equity, they can buy a single family home in the same neighborhood. You know, so, I mean, that's one of the advantages that way. And that's kind of what they proposed at the first, was to have a mix in there.
Well, and when you start looking at it, and this is one of the other issues for another discussion, PUDs. In our PUD, I can come in here and go, I want anything from LDR1 all the way up to MDR2 in this PUD, and I'm going to mix apartment complexes, I'm going to mix townhomes and single family homes or duplexes, and I can put it all in one community. That's what Summerfield is, only they only went to LDR3 as their high end. That's a PUD. And so that's how
But they have to have green space. They have to have the green space though, and that makes a big difference.
Green space only comes into play if they ask for higher densities. If they don't ask for the higher densities, then they just have to have the standard. But most of them want higher densities. They want to put more homes in. The other side of it is they may want to shrink the footprint of the different lots so that then they'll put a big park in there with smaller ones in. So changing some of the setbacks and the rules that way is part of a PUD. But if they come in and build it to standards, then they don't have to change anything. It's just, we want to combine, we want these type of communities. Summerfield did make changes. They did the green space. They did reduce lot sizes. And that was one thing. And they have to do a bunch of things to meet that requirement.
Alan, say what the PUD is.
Planned unit development.
Okay, so you can mix zoning in the same place.
You can mix LDR1, LDR2, LDR3, medium density 1 and medium density 2. You cannot bring in high density. You can't bring in tag or mixed use. None of those can come into.
And that has to come before.
It comes in front of the city.
So there's no zoning for that. That would have to come
Comes
before
in
us
front
to
of you.
approve something.
They have a spreadsheet that they have to go through, and they have to gain certain points if they're going to ask for reduced setbacks or increased density. And they have to meet certain standards, and that comes in front of you. You get to look at it and say, yes, you meet them. Better quality insulation, more green space, better landscaping, parks, features that are common throughout that come in and make it. And there's 5 different areas. They have to hit at least one in every single one of those and score 100 points to be able to get that.
Alan,
And then I'll get you around.
I would, I'm fine with moving the LDR3 into, for one reason. The zone is low density residential 3.
That's
If
confusing.
we were to keep it in the medium density, we need to change it to a medium density or whatever.
You put it as 1 and change the other.
There's confusion there that doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
And I personally think it would be fine. We can manage it in the low density residential because it is the differential there is single family units rather than multiple family.
And that was our reasons for pushing it down.
And so
as we're keeping that single
it makes
family.
sense that way. The way it was before, though, it was very confusing.
Yes,
So,
to the public and to us.
Yeah.
So at this point, all in favor of moving it down to the low?
I changed name.
Okay.
I don't like.
If I have a medium density comprehensive plan and I want to come in, I'm a developer, I want to do an LDR3 because I want to build townhomes in that comprehensive plan zone. Does that require a comprehensive plan change?
Yes.
Then what is the problem then with allowing LDR3 in both intermediate and medium density?
Then you don't need a comprehensive plan.
No, I don't agree with that.
If you're gonna let it float
Because
between different ones.
But I'm asking one zone. I'm saying, why can't one zone be acceptable in both comprehensive? Because it's sort of like my 12-year-old can play with the teenagers and with the kids. And like, some things go with both, or like tall people, 5'9" person can play basketball with a 6-foot person and a 5'6" person.
Okay.
So, but this LDR3, to me, fits with medium density, fine, it blends in fine, and it also blends in my opinion, with twin homes and LDR2.
I'm okay with that.
So that to me says, if LDR3,
But it does fuzz the lines.
well, it blurs that line, it blurs the line, and I think in a useful way. And now some people aren't comfortable with ambiguity and they want black and white, this or that. I'm comfortable with an ambiguity that allows developers to say, I don't have to ask for comprehensive plan change to do townhomes in MDR next to my medium.
There's really no disadvantage to that.
I don't see one.
Yeah,
I don't understand why.
I agree. I think that's a
It
great
wouldn't be in
solution.
both. If we're gonna put it in LDR or in low
Low
residential,
residential.
then leave it in medium as well.
Be able to put it in medium.
Because
So,
then you don't have to do a comp plan change when someone wants to do it in another place. And that might.
Okay.
so I guess when someone comes in and says, I want to make, and it's let me think about this.
Low residential.
Well, I'm trying to think, if they come in and they say they need to change, here's something that's been a problem for me. When someone comes in and says, I want to change it to MDR1, to me, I think, what is the highest density they can put in that? Am I okay with that? If I'm okay with that, I'll say yes. If I'm not, I won't say yes. And so what would happen to that if someone says, I want it to be an MDR1? What would happen?
In a medium density?
Yeah, so I want it to be, so this is an MDR1. What would happen if we had it floating back and forth?
No.
No,
With that-
LDR, LDR3 is the only thing that he's
I'm
saying,
misunderstanding my.
to have the LDR3 in the low residential
So-
and the medium.
So
So LDR3 change does
give
not.
me a scenario.
Okay, so LDR3 does not change in its density. It's always 10 units
Yes.
per acre.
Okay,
I'm just saying that if you have it allowed in both comprehensive plans, medium and low, then if a developer wants townhomes
Here's maybe an easy way for around. Don't think of the Birch property.
got it?
They asked for the LDR3 on the
Yep.
back
Well,
piece.
Birch is what triggered my thought of
Yes.
my suggestion.
Because it's low residential and we weren't allowing them to change the comp plan, it was not allowed to go in there.
Exactly.
What he's saying is if it's allowed in low residential and in medium, then we could decide to let the LDR3 go in there
Yeah.
without having to change the comp plan.
Yeah, personally, I think it's.
So
great.
what would the comp plan say?
It would stay the same.
Comprehensive.
But it would, in the zone, it would say you are allowed this in both low residential and in medium residential. So
So-
it would be used in both.
LDR3 could be used for both.
Says LDR3 as part of the plan, right? Isn't it its own?
It's part, not a,
Or is it all LDR?
Not,
Comp plan doesn't.
I-
comp plan isn't zone, it's just districts.
What's the district for this? LDR?
This one right now is intermediate. So it's
Intermediate and low residential.
correct. It doesn't go into low now, it's only an intermediate.
Okay,
I propose putting it into low, Randall's proposing to put it in both of them.
I think it's actually
Makes sense.
brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Because it's
Great idea.
because it's what it's what we really want, actually,
Correct.
right? And so so they want to go in, it just makes sense. Just this one goes either way,
Correct.
right? Either way.
It's just the buffer in between the two.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's a buffer.
To me, that makes more sense.
It's a
If it's harder
transition.
to go down to low density, that's why I have heartburn a little bit taking this down to low density.
Yeah,
It because you're forcing that down to more on that 1 acre lot into low density. I have a harder time that way than doing
Yeah.
both. I think it's smart to do both, because to me, that's what, it's the other way around than what Tammy said, it's
yeah,
going the other
I'm,
way.
yeah, which way?
So what I'm
That's
hearing,
what-
Yes
that's what
to.
me.
so what I'm hearing is now we pretty well got a consensus that put it in both.
And is that,
I
if
think
that's
it's
legal,
great.
then
Let's do that and let's move on. I'm trying to give you guys a 5-10 minute break before you have to go into city council. Before we do that. In some of these now, we currently have in some of the low densities, 70% can be covered, 30% has to be landscaped. One of the challenges we're running into as a city, as a state, and as a nation, the availability of water. Forcing people to go clear up to 30% landscaping. Now, that doesn't mean they have to plant trees and grass. They can't do xeriscape. We're looking at it and going, we want to reduce that down and go 80-20. That's what our medium density currently is. We want to be able to put that same thing in for. We're also running into areas where we have cul-de-sacs where it's almost impossible for them to get that 70-30 because you have the front yard that's all concrete, which will bring another point up we'll talk about is currently right now, only 40% of your front yard can be covered with concrete. It's not working. We are constantly running into problems. We want to take that to a 50-50. So 50% of it can be concrete or asphalt. The other 50 has to be pervious, water to be able to penetrate. That's the changes we're proposing in these two. And along with it in LDR3, if they're going to build townhomes, in MDR 1 and 2, if you put the parking in back of the townhome, we'll let you move that setback up to 15 feet from property line rather than 20. We're trying to find a way to encourage townhomes to put the parking in the back. So they're not lining them up and pulling off of the street. So that's what that proposal is if you'll park in the back, we'll let you move it 5 feet closer to the street. So those are the three changes in there that you will see beyond which comp plan.
You have building coverage at 80%,
Yes,
impervious
20.
cement can't be more than 50%. My concern is why, and at least 20%, there's a gap in there of 10% that I worry, what are you gonna put in? I just worry that somebody's gonna figure, oh, I'll just let that go to weed or whatever, I don't know.
What do you mean by gap?
Well, if you max up, you
100%.
max the building coverage at 80%, you max the impervious at 50%. And
No.
landscaping.
No,
20.
you have to look at it different. The 80-20 is the overall lot.
Oh, 50%
Just
just.
50% is just the front yard can be income.
Well, I'm just thinking, let's limit the impervious to the total building coverage, and then the rest has got to be in landscaping.
Yeah, but we run into a problem. We don't want all of our front yards to be concrete jungles. We would like some landscaping there. It just makes the city prettier. So by limiting them on how much concrete they can put out there, they're gonna have to do some kind of landscape. And even if it's xeriscape,
Yeah.
xeriscape's no plants, life, anything. It's just basically rocks, trees, not even trees. You just do decorative stuff. Mayor knows all
Well,
this stuff.
that's not really what it means. That means you're using the least amount of water.
Least amount.
Yeah.
There is one term that is no water, and I've got a couple of people in Summerfield that have done that. Their front yard is strictly rocks. And it's different types and styles, and they've got deals through it. But that's what we're proposing, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds to me like you could just make like, the rest of the yard has to be landscaped. If it's not building and it's not impervious surface, it has to be landscaped.
So going back to this idea of,
Figure out how to make that work.
I'm wondering
It
if,
has to
It
at
does.
what point with water becoming an issue all over the West, especially here, at what point will we as a city start to say, we really want to encourage, promote xeriscaping in terms of using native plants and more of this? I mean, I go down to Arizona and I see what
All of
the
it.
yards are like. I mean, all
And
desert.
I think there's even something a step above that, Randall, as we come in here and not just go to xeriscape, drip irrigation for trees and shrubs and flower beds, rather than rainbirds that waste a lot of water, and most of it evaporates if they're sprinkling during the day. There are many things, and Mayor's a lot more up on this than me, that we could reduce our amount of water. Our highest usage is what, July, August for a city? And it's because of, yeah, and it's strictly because that's when everybody's watering.
Fall under landscaping, right? They all fall under landscaping.
Yes, they do. But those are good things that we can start as a city to encourage. And Aaron, he has a project out here he's doing, and he's working up a deal where he's coming in and looking at this low impact as minimal amount of water as possible using special irrigation systems and xeriscaping and anything he can to reduce the amount of water that it requires to water that yard. So, are you okay with that then? What do we have in this part? Sure. Okay, let's scroll farther. MDR1. Again, we just cleaned up some of it. Now realize MDR 1 and 2 still allow townhomes. That is still out, even in HDRs, is still allowed as townhomes, because you can get some pretty high densities with townhomes in that situation, but no single family is allowed, single family detached or duplexed. Only 3 attached and more can go in those higher zones.
Since that's the gateway to home ownership, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and there's some good mixes out there of townhomes in apartments, because they move from the apartment to the town.
Yeah.
Okay, keep scrolling. Again, this is medium density, same thing. We did bring the 50% in those. HDR1.
There weren't any, there was, just changing the descriptions, I think was all that was.
Yeah. And HDR2, getting that in there. Cleaning it up. Now, tag is one I want to have a discussion with right now.
Quick back on, we didn't change no parking.
No.
On at all.
No.
Okay.
No. The only parking we've done is just determine lots or parking sizes, but we haven't changed any lowering amounts or increasing amounts, any of that type of stuff. Thank you, Randall.
Yeah, sorry, I got to remember.
See ya.
In
Yep.
tag, I want to cover this one quick. Tag currently right now, it's 1 acre, 1 house. We don't care anything in that. What's happening is most of our tag is in our impact area. And so what we felt was a good option is to come in and say, if you're in tag and you want to start developing, okay, it's 5 acres. So I have a 40-acre piece and I come in there, I'm either going to have to break it into 5-acre lots, or if you set the other 32 acres, 35 acres aside, I'll let you shrink those down to 1-acre lots and you can develop in the corner. That in the future, then it can develop that next one. It doesn't scatter out so much that it becomes very difficult in the past. And this falls back to water again too, because now I got 5 acres, it turns into a weed patch because nobody has the water or the time or the desire to mow 5 acres of weeds. So they still can develop in it, they can still build, and as they need, they can move up. All of a sudden, they've done the 5 acres and they're going, we scroll up a little bit.
Read the rest of that.
Oh, go back down. Oh, so
There we go.
right there.
Right there.
Yeah, if you do like 8 1-acre lots, then you would have to set the other 32 aside. As soon as you rezone, if you went to an LDR 1, 2, or RR 1 or 2, then you could go to that one and finish developing the rest of it. It just holds it, because tags should be a holding point until they're ready to come into the city and develop. Is that okay with you guys? Okay.
I hate the word restricted. I mean,
You have to some
He's got to put 32 acres. He can't put anything on it.
until he rezones.
Yeah, I guess.
So right now, just to get my brain wrapped around this, right now, they can do it at 1 acre.
1 acre a lot.
And so what's the problem? Is it just that we've got a lot of these big lots around, and then as we're pushing out, we can't
The
build
problem,
additional stuff there?
the problem we run into is they have those big ones, they'll actually split it into 5-acre lots.
Okay.
And so now we have these huge lots that people can't build on. Now, if they want to do 5 and they want to do it that way, great. But if they want to bring that down and maximize the value of their property, cluster those down, put them in a spot, and then just restrict the rest of it until you rezone. So then you can develop the rest
So
of it.
this is an incentive not to
An
do that, but
incentive.
it's not stopping them from
No.
still doing
Then they-
5-acre lot that they want.
Yes, again,
That's
we're
another,
talking minimums.
that's another good argument for RR1. If you're gonna allow 1-acre lots,
Oh, you need a category.
you gotta have a correct category to put them in.
Mhm.
And RR1 fits that.
Fits the category.
So are we good with this one? Okay,
Yeah.
let's scroll through. I don't think there's much left I think that would just remove an RBD. Yeah, this is to remove that residential business district. Are you guys okay with that? And we would just ask to rezone it to mixed use.
Yeah, but we've run into some trouble with mixed use
In
because,
what way?
well, look at Horner's Corner. It's mixed use requirement and
That's form-based.
nobody can make it work.
That's form-based. They have to go 4 stories.
Yeah, it's on the curve.
It's form-based.
Yeah, that's form-based.
Base.
But behind.
But you're right. I mean, we're on our 10th iteration. We're looking at townhomes.
But you're dealing with form-based versus Euclidean. This is the rest of the city taking control.
Yeah, but over there wasn't part of the problem there. Oh, it's form-based, so you could put, so you don't have to have a business in there. It could
Yeah,
be all
you could-
residential,
You
right?
could do residential because there's a townhouse category.
Yeah.
So this is outside of the form-based code. And so, and we have mixed use, which will do the same thing. You can still come in there and do the
I guess
business.
I just get worried about sometimes that kills projects because it'll work one way, but it doesn't work. So requiring both.
So
things.
here's what happened with this one from what Stephen told me. He says this was developed and they had multiple spots within the city and they found out it wasn't working and it was just a pain. So they rezoned everything, but they forgot to change these 2. And that was why those ended up staying.
Which two?
The ones, Fulmer's old office.
Those up there.
That's the only 2 lots in the whole city.
Yeah,
And so we have a whole section in the code for 2 lots.
all right.
So, and we would just come in and propose moving it to mixed use. So then they can continue to do what they're doing. Nothing changes. And again, they're grandfathered in.
All right.
Okay, so we'll leave that one. That's just removing all of the language for RBD.
Let's close up and get the adjournment.
Let's call it there. We may have to reschedule and think. Let's do this. If you guys will look through the rest of this code and then send us comments. Let's see if we can get a consensus on any of the other changes.
We end on, and there's 76 pages, so yeah.
This
didn't cover the other things.
No, it didn't.
This is
There's
just.
also 2 other sections,
Do you want us to comment on the other sections
Everything.
as well?
unless you want to have another meeting like this. But you're going into budget meetings in the next month.
No,
I don't mind having another meeting.
Yeah.
It's good when you.
Because we don't know what you're saying and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of-
You doing a presentation time?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So anyways, the city, some of the, I mean, the boss. I'm not the boss of my own life. My wife is. Yeah. That was my part.
Okay, let's see, whose turn is it to pray and pledge?
It's hard to see.
But today is what, April 1st?
Yeah.
Johnson and Colin, so. Let's do Colin and Reeser. Colin, will you say the opening prayer, please? And Councilmember Reeser?
Give me a holler just to make sure.
Pledge, yeah.
Right.
I'm out Friday.
He did this.
No.
Wow, it's got real quiet all of a sudden. It must be time to start. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. We appreciate your attendance here with us tonight. This is the city council meeting for the Rexburg City Council of April 1st, 2026. And that's serious. That's not a joke. That's not an April Fool's joke. All right, so we have already had a combined city council and planning and zoning meeting this evening to talk about the Rexburg Development Code. So this is a continuation, but we'd like to go ahead and start this meeting with a prayer, an opening prayer, and a pledge to the flag. And I've asked Councilmember Colin Erickson to offer the opening prayer for us, after which Councilmember Dave Reeser will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Councilmember Erickson.
Our dear Father in heaven, we bow before you this evening to give you thanks for the many blessings we have in our lives. We're so thankful for this city and this community and for our neighbors and people we live around and family that we're here. Father, we're so thankful for the many blessings we have for to being here in Idaho and Rexburg and be part of that. Father, we ask the blessing be upon this community. Bless each and every one of the individuals that live here and that visit here, that they may feel that they're connected and that we may be able to work together and be productive and move forward. Father, we ask the blessing to be upon this country. Bless our armed forces and the decision making that's there, that they may make the right decision, that we may do the things which God wants us to do. Father, we ask you please bless us this evening, that we may make good decisions, that we may be able to listen and understand and do the things we need to further this community forth and to do the things we need to. Father, we ask you be with us and continue to bless us. We ask and do this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. At this point in time, we'd like to go ahead with the roll call of the city council members. We'll ask Mariana or
Councilmember Tejan. Here. Councilmember Colin Erickson.
Here.
Councilmember Reeser.
Here.
Councilmember Riggins.
Here.
Council President Eric Erickson.
Here.
And Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
yeah, Councilmember Johnson is on Zoom, and we appreciate her efforts to be with us this evening on the Zoom meeting. So, all right, thank you very much. We will go ahead with item number 4 on our agenda, which is we have some new employees in our city that have been hired recently. We'd like to hear a little bit from them and get to know them a little bit. So we'll start with Timothy Bowman, who has been hired to be our building maintenance coordinator. So, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Timothy Bowman. I have over 30 years of building maintenance experience, and I'm excited to be part of the City of Rexburg team. Everybody has been extremely helpful, pleasant. It's an honor to serve. I've also been married for 30 years, so that's a testament to my commitment to everything I do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, next we will be favored by Kelly Weathersby, who has been hired to be the city electrician and also building maintenance coordinator.
Yeah, good evening. Happy to be here. A little bit about myself is I grew up in Pocatello, spent about 10 years in Pensacola, Florida, came back here to Rexburg and met my wife, Darla, who is a school teacher at Madison County School District. And I think 15 years now this year we've been married. I've been here. Yeah, done a lot of different kinds of electrical stuff and really happy that I got hired here. It's been quite enjoyable.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I'd like to welcome you both to our Rexburg City Council or Rexburg team and look forward to working with you for many years in the future. So we appreciate all that you have already done and will continue to do. So thank you very much. All right, we'd like to go ahead at this time. We have a presentation about Rexburg housing demographics by Hilton Bates, a BYU Idaho student. Mr. Bates, come on up. That's okay over there. Yeah, you're fine. Just over there, you just have to kind of make sure you speak into the microphone because it's a little further away from you usually. So,
will do. Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Hilton Bates, and I've lived in Madison County since I was in the first grade. So around 17, 18 years. I'm currently studying sociology with a minor in peace and conflict transformation at BYU, Idaho. And then with me, I have my friend Ria.
My name is Ria. I'm from Taiwan. I'm a nursing student at BYU Idaho. Hilton and I took a demography class from Dr. Brooks. One of our major projects this semester is to create a demographic profile for our clients. I work with Aaron Ricks, and he's interested in housing in Rexburg.
Thank you.
And so I reached out to Councilwoman Tejan in January, and we decided to compile data on Madison County from the U.S. Census Bureau to analyze the issue of affordable housing. And Dr. Brooks encouraged Rhea and I to collaborate because the aim of our projects overlapped quite a bit. And so first we'll go over some of the broad trends in population change, after which we'll cover some data on housing costs, poverty, and housing structure. And so, yeah, there are some credits. All the data will come from U.S. Census Bureau or the American Community Survey, just 5-year estimates. Okay, so first we have a graph showing the population change from 1990 to 2024, sorry. And so from 1990, there's been an increase by 33,199 people in the last 34 years. So that's a 149% increase, and then a 47.75% increase from 2010 to 2024. The growth of BYUI drives a large portion of the population increase. Usually people migrate places with established businesses and work opportunities. However, a lot of the migration in Rexburg precedes the establishment of businesses and work opportunities because of the college. It kind of brings people in from everywhere. And another reason people migrate here is just the safety and the stability of the community. The Latter-day Saint culture draws in a lot of people, so some broad trends there. Okay, so right here we have some population pyramids showing population change by age and sex. And so from 2010 to 2024, Madison County has seen a 59.8% increase in women and a 29.6% increase in men. And as of 2024, females ages 15 to 19, that longer line there, make up the largest cohort, so around 19%. This is because BYU Idaho, or it could be because BYU Idaho admits more female students than male students. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints recently established a policy allowing young women to serve missions at 18 instead of 19. So we theorized that this policy could cause more of an even distribution across sex in the young adult ages, so 15 to 29. Okay, so and then from 2000 to 2024, median monthly housing costs have increased by $281 for non-mortgage units, so rentals. So that's going to be that orange bar, the orange bars for each year. So that's a 112% increase. And then the median monthly housing costs for mortgage units have increased by $829. So that's a 94.7% increase. So the rental units have had a slightly larger percentage increase than the mortgage units. And this could be attributed to construction focused on new shared apartment complexes. And there might be a need for more long-term housing options for younger adults in the region. So here we have a graph showing the percentage of individuals and families below poverty in Madison County from 2000 to 2024. So in 2024, 24.5% of individuals and 12.9% of families in Madison County fall below the poverty line. So that's going to be those two bars right there. In the state of Idaho, 7.1% of families and 12.4% of all people are below the poverty line. So our county poverty levels are likely higher than the state statewide poverty levels, probably because of BYUI students trying to balance tuition costs, cost of living, and supporting families. In 2010, the percentage of individuals and families below the poverty line were much higher, and this is likely due to 2008 recession recovery. It's really important to note that poverty tends to be temporary in the vast majority of cases. So most people experiencing poverty right now will not stay below the poverty line. And in Rexburg, our poverty levels are likely inflated due to the amount of young college students in the area.
Okay, here we're looking at housing structure in Rexburg. So we can see over 60% of couples that are married, they're living in one unit housing, which means it's freestanding house. And we can also see the majority of single people, they're living, not family, means they're single. They're living in 2 to 3 bedroom unit, which highlights the market of BYU Idaho is our shared unit, more like roommates and for students instead of just a single studio or a large family rental homes. And one thing is really interesting, we can look at these is for a single father. They're more likely to live in one single unit, freestanding home than single mother. So single mother tended to live in 2 to 3 units housing, which means it's in a shared community. They can get more support from other people compared to single father, which means single father are also more likely to live in mobile house. They have the highest percentage that they're more freely, they can move around more than single mother. And the next slide, we're looking at housing occupations. For example, we can see that here for not renter means they own their houses. Nearly 60%, which is 6 times more than renter, they have 4+ bedrooms in their units. Compared to renter, they usually have to share their space with other people, which highlights that if a larger family, they're not ready to afford it at home, it's harder for them to find a place to live with 4+ bedrooms if they need it. And the last slide we're looking at is the bedroom by rent in Madison County. So as we can see, the rent is usually shared room, 2 to 3 bedroom unit, and the rent is located between $750 to $1,500 is the range for the community housing here, which pretty much align with what BYUI students are looking for. But it is also harder for larger family. For example, if students are starting their family, it's pretty much you cannot find the housing that is lower than $750 rent for the larger family. So that is the barrier right here. And they also highlight that this market is highly be driven by the college student here.
So yeah, just a brief summary of the themes we covered. It's that Madison County is growing more quickly than most of the counties within the nation and definitely within Idaho. The Madison County population is overwhelmingly young, and the student population drives the housing market as it is right now. It's difficult for large families to find homes to rent when they are not ready to mortgage a home. And housing structure differs for single fathers and single mothers. I covered that. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you for listening.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
well, thank you. Yes, is there any questions?
Yes.
You sort of implied a little bit that the single father and single mother, that was quite a discrepancy in what they're living in. Is that, you think, is that more of an economic situation or is it more social? You seem to imply that it was kind of a social construct.
Yes, so based on what I learned in the class is when a single mother, they're more likely to seek for help just because the culture here is, usually women got married is more likely for them to drop out school than male. So when they don't have the income support, they're more likely to live with someone else, for example, friends or family. So they're like sharing space. Somebody can take care of their kids. For example, on the other hand, for example, the male, they probably don't lose their job, after they get divorced. So it's not as necessary for them to have other people's help, like as always around them. And it's also easier for them to move around if they're living in mobile homes. So that is my hypothetical guess.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right.
Could I ask one question?
Yes, please.
Yes, go ahead.
So yeah, I was intrigued by that since single fathers are so much more rare than single mothers. Do you have a number? Like, do you have any idea how many single fathers there are in Rexburg? Did you look into that at all?
I did not. Sorry.
Okay, thanks. I was just curious.
Numbers.
We have the data and
We'll send it over to Alicia Tejan once we get it all compiled.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For that to everybody once I get it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. We appreciate that. And I hope it was beneficial to you to do that and learn something. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Doctor. Okay. All right. We will move on to our next item on the agenda is a public comment time. These are for items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone here who would like to make any comments, make us known of anything at this time? Yes. State your name and address, please.
My name is Vince Haley, 2309 West 960 South here in Rexburg. And just three quick fire items for you. All three items I've brought before the council before, but I thought it'd be worth visiting again. One, I brought before you before the fact that some of our signage is very whitewashed out and incredibly hard to read. I'm specifically thinking about the directional signs of parks, museums, some of that. There's one right outside of the Bell Black Insurance Building on Second East. And next time you drive by it, you'll notice it. It's impossible to read. It does no good to be there. So my suggestion is either get rid of it or we need to redo those. They're not a good reflection of our city's dedication to those museums and parks. Second item is a couple years ago, I think it was last year, in fact, I brought before you the fact that on our new fiber ring, in the event that we start to charge for installation on new construction homes, we will start to lose some of our advantage to that fiber ring. And I want to bring before you that I have a buyer that's on the north side of Summerfield, and he is closing on his home next week. He applied for the fiber installation, and the estimated cost includes a $350 installation fee. Now, you're welcome to do that and keep that, but I'm telling you, you're going to lose business because your competing installers or providers do not charge that fee. So something to be thinking about in terms of that. I thought we had tackled that.
It comes from the city?
No, it's from the, no, it's not from the city. It's from the supplier.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
but are you saying that none of the other suppliers charge a connection fee?
Correct. Again, in a new construction, if CenturyLink is going to bring in their fiber and pre-install it, they do not charge to do that. It's there for free.
Oh, and the new, Keith, did you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so we have the fiber ring, but we don't no longer are in the fiber business per se, right? Because we lease out that ring to Silver Star, and then Silver Star is completing those last mile legs. And at least the first part, they weren't charging on that connection. And maybe the models changed for them, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, they said they would do them for free up to a certain point, and after which they were gonna start charging. Yeah.
But that is the exact reason I came before you last year and brought this up. And it was my understanding that there was going to be some discussion with them of waiving that fee in order to keep building that fiber accessibility throughout the city. Because again, it is up to you of what your mission is there. But if your mission is to provide fiber at a reduced cost or a less cost in order to continue providing that to your people, you're going to lose. So
Yeah, I don't know that that necessarily is our mission. Our mission is to have good fiber available to everyone, but we can certainly throw that out to them and say, hey, that's their business decision. It's really not ours. So at that point, we can say, hey, this is some of the feedback we're getting. You might want to look at this.
Yep.
Which is what we can do, yeah.
And the third item goes along with that. And again, Keith may comment on this. It was my understanding one of the main reasons of the fiber ring was to connect city facilities, county facilities, including lights. I would really like to follow up on the light issue. If there's one subject that more people talk to me about and complain to me about just because they know I'm knowledgeable of what's going on in the city, it is the lights. And I've directed them to Keith and I've directed them to you. I don't know if they're actually doing that, but I say your council members want to hear from you and hear about that because there are times I want to do things and say things that I would not want to say around my wife because of the light, right?
Well, when people call me, I just tell them to call you. So
there you go.
No, just kidding.
So
Speak about this tonight.
Uh-huh.
Legislature talked to me about it, so kids could definitely report on that.
Are we talking about lighting the streets?
No, we're talking about connecting
Street
the
light.
traffic lights to the
traffic
fiber.
lights. And the one issue that I may misunderstand this, Keith, is that the cameras are not in use and that we're going to timers. Is that correct?
No, so right now the cameras are in use, but when you start going to the timing system, then you start pulling the cameras out of that, right? Because you want them to be in sync. And so that's where the fiber comes into play because it can keep them all in sync. Before we tried it with time clocks, but each individual time clock would get out of sync and then it causes problems. And so you look at putting together a signal timing plan that allows that movement, but then that pulls your cameras kind of off of it unless there's something that triggers that maybe a big lead up that you say, we've got to let the side traffic go. But a lot of times it's going to cause those side streets to have longer delay times. I don't know if you noticed when we did signal timing been a couple of years ago, like at a certain time in the day, you pull up to that light, you sit and wait, even if there's not vehicles coming, because you're sitting and wait because it's trying to keep that signal timing in queue. So as that platoon of cars moves through, they can keep moving. And so there's trade-offs when you do that. Generally, it's the side streets that have longer wait times, but the main road gets you through better. Right now, they're connected on 33 through, and that's really where we're going to look at signal timing. And so we need to get with a consultant to put together that plan. Believe it was Horrocks that did it last time. And so we can get that plan put together, get it implemented, and then we have to track it, see how well it's working, making sure the traffic is moving through in a good manner with that. So that's kind of where we're at.
In two specific instances, and Brett will back me on this. A Sunday morning, the Rexburg Motorsports light is horrendous because there's not a single car going through there, but we will sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there. And then my son will get out and push the crosswalk signal just for us to get the light. So we're not running a red light on the way to church, kind of thing, right? The other one that infuriates me is I hit all four lights, whether I'm going north or south through the interchange, the underpass. And if I do not gas it from the one light to the other, I will not make it. So those are two places that I think could easily be worked on. So again, I understand these are small details, but I think if we don't worry about the small details, then we're starting to not worry about larger details. Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor,
yes,
just a question, I guess, for Keith. My understanding was, I mean, we've got all the lights connected by fiber.
Yep.
I guess my simple mind thought that the reason we did that was so that the cameras could develop could keep traffic flowing. So, but that's not the case. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, yeah. So the cameras, right? So when you have the cameras up there, right, we have boxes that look and say, okay, I've got cars stacked in those boxes. When I get this car comes into that box, it lets the computer know, hey, I got a vehicle there. So we need to start the countdown to move traffic, to move the light, so that way that vehicle can move through, right? And sometimes we have what's called, oh, I'm forgetting the name of it right now. But anyways, as more cars stack up, you give a longer time queue to get all those cars through, right? And so it stacks up when you do the cameras. But when you go to the traffic timing, right, you have to take that out because now you're moving these cars that are blocks down the road, right, trying to get them through all these green lights. And so that's where the timing comes into play because you look at how long does it take those vehicles to get to that next light? When does that light need to be green so you can start moving that platoon of cars all the way through and hopefully you're getting them on green lights. So then that way they can move through. Whereas cameras would conflict with that because they're going to say, hey, I've got a car on my side street, so I need to move that through so those side street cars can come through.
So, so I guess I'm confused because it sounds to me like we really don't need the fiber.
No, you do.
Because you're just going to time the lights.
Yeah, so but they all have to be connected, right? Before we were trying to go off of clocks, individual clocks, and the clocks didn't keep time together. And so the connection between all of those signals now can be synchronized so they're all on the same time, right? Because if they get off of time, so say this one's 5 seconds difference than this time, then that messes with that platoon coming through because it's thinking, oh, I need to change it this time and it's 5 seconds off.
Okay.
So the connection.
It almost seems like in Vince's case, he's either gonna have to have the choice of I can make it all the way through all 4 lights, but then I'm gonna have to sit and on Sunday morning and wait for that light. It's kind of a either or situation kind of.
So there's times when you put in, right, you say, we want the timing because we have a high volume of traffic moving through. So that's why we kick it out of that and move it back to cameras. So like on a Sunday morning, we wouldn't keep that timing in place because we know the volume of traffic.
So it can be variable.
Yeah, it can be variable.
Okay.
The camera's not working, Keith. I'm telling you.
Well, it's working. You just have really bad luck. Consistently, really have consistently. No, there's, so we've been looking into that camera because I've been aware of that. And sometimes you get what's called ghost calls where there's not a vehicle there, but yet the camera's picking something up. And so we've been trying to kind of flush through that and see what is really happening with that. Because we get that on different cameras all the time. You're like, okay, there's a little hiccup in the system. We got to figure what's happening at that time. But definitely keep us informed on there because I'm not out there on Sunday mornings.
Colin, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did have a comment. Like say, as we talked about this, and I talked to our legislature that kind of worked with this, and it was we approved it through the city council to get this done. I'm talking to Keith. We just have to get an engineer company to come in and kind of synchronize this, get this going. When we approved it, we need to make that step to get it done down Main Street and down Second East. The light, and so speaking of that, but then the light at Rexburg Motorsports, I have to agree with Vince. There's definitely some problems with that light, and we need to go out and evaluate that because if you're going northbound, that light will change green, and you before you even get through the intersection, you can't get halfway through it and it's turning back to red. And so it's off.
No,
It's definitely off there. There's some things we need to work on.
And then are you seeing it just on Sundays? I would think every time. Yeah, that's why we're always like, okay, what do we got happening in that system? That's great, Matt. Because that's what I've only heard is just
Well,
Sundays. I haven't seen the other
Sunday's the really bad one because there's absolutely no one going through the other direction, right? There are other times that you have to sit there longer than I think you should based on if the camera recognizes you. But there's enough traffic going through there at other times of the day that it's doing its thing because it's recognizing other cars, right?
Sunday's a day of rest.
And that camera is taking its reads.
Just kidding.
It's got a favorite.
Can I ask one question too?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
So sorry, was Vince talking about when you're heading by Valleywide to the interchanges? because I would agree that you get stopped at every one of those lights. So when are you saying that that's going to be more synchronized? Because when I go to work every day, I get stopped at both interchange lights and Pioneer almost every day.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one you were talking about or not, but yeah, I think, I mean, we're hoping to make improvements on both of them. I think over time, just try to figure it out to where they all work better. But I go through there too, and some days is definitely worse than others. There are some days that I flow through okay. I'll get stopped at one of them and make it through the other two or whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of variable depending on the traffic and different things. But I think it's something that we're always going to try to be working on and improving.
So
Yes, sir.
understanding Main Street and Second East, will the south interchange along with the two be two university interchanges be tied in with that as well?
Wait,
Because I would love to see those four tied in together as well.
I don't know. Did you get what he's talking about there, Keith?
Yeah, he's on the south end, right? He's looking at the signal 12th West through the interchange and then Yellowstone and University.
Oh yeah, down through there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Keith's got to take off. Is there anything else that you needed to ask him real quick before he leaves? No? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to make any comments at this time? Okay. Hearing none, we will move to item number 7, which is our staff reports. We'll start with our finance report from Mr. Matt Nielsen.
All right. So we, when I say we, there are a few of us. So Colin and Eric and the mayor have been involved in a few fire department meetings. So what I've done here is this document that's in your packet shows the old way that we used to do the budgeting, and it was pretty brief, about two paragraphs. And so there was just a lot of unknowns through the process, but the good news is we did the budgeting because we were the employers of record. Well, that's switched to the fire district last year, and we just felt like it would be prudent to update that budgeting to really what we want it to be, so that we can all, and when I say all, I'm talking about the 3 joint venture partners, so the fire district, the ambulance district, the city, which of course is City Fire, have an opportunity to look at those budget requests, provide feedback. And so really what this document does is kind of defines the dates when draft budgets need to be given. It provides the times when capital improvement plans, COLAs need to be presented. And then it also has a new process in it that we call target-based budgeting. And so what we want them to do is be very specific about the reporting that they provide back to us in that budget process so that we can see prior years. If they just come in and they show you the budget and there's no history, it's really hard for us to be fully informed. And so it includes things like that. And then it also includes a couple really big changes. One is we're asking them to provide us the percentage and dollar amount increase to the subsidy that is provided by each joint venture partner each year. So instead of just coming back with, hey, this is our budget, they're actually coming back and saying, here's our budget, and we're requesting it to go up 200,000 or 5%. And then it allows each of the entities to take it back to the decision makers who set those budgets, provide input. And then we've also asked that they designate a budget representative from each of the entities to work together through this process. And so basically there's some deadlines. Let's say that we got to the end of the budget process and they had a 10% increase and we said, hey, we want it to be 5%. We're not necessarily going back and saying, cut this, this, and this. We're just saying, this is what we can afford. Come back with a recommendation that's in that target-based approach. So anyways, those are kind of the big things. Another big one is anytime in the operating fund, which is where the biggest cost is, if they were to go over budget, we just subsidized it. Going forward, we're actually saying, hey, if you have a year where you go over budget, we're actually going to include that overage in the next year as part of our budget process. But on the other hand, if they had a great year where they managed their budget well, and maybe they had $100,000 that they spent under budget, we're actually saying, well, let's carry that over, and that can help you to offset some of those cost increases or inflation in the next year. So basically, that's the approach that we're recommending. And then it just kind of describes the different funds that we would ask them to report on. And, we met with them once, and then I actually had a follow-up meeting with Kim, myself, and Troyce and Corey. I think the process should work well, and they've indicated that they're in favor of that approach. Now you just have to have each entity say yay or nay, and hopefully they adopt it as an addendum to the current joint operating agreement. So any questions?
Any questions from anyone?
So you said that you have discussed these particulars with them and
Yes.
they're okay with it. How about Madison County? Are they in favor of this type as well?
Yeah, they were in the board meeting and they didn't say that they weren't in favor. And I actually worked to help draft it directly with their budget representative. So with the county clerk at the time. And then they have actually since hired a finance person. And I met her with over at the fire department as well in our last meeting last Friday, actually. So
Who's hired a finance person?
Madison County.
Okay.
Okay. Councilmember Riggins, did you have?
Just as I read through it earlier today, I just thought, do we have a reference, right, as to, they come up with a budget and they say this is what it is, and it could be, and I realize that we could go in and say, well, you gotta, but what will you use as a reference? What will we, the city, use as a reference to know that we're within?
Yeah. Great question. So we'll use two things really. We'll use we'll look at the historical subsidies, right? And then we'll factor in all of these additional budget requests. And then the other big thing is we will look at our forecasting of revenues, which is the real driver. And so when you think about what is paying for public safety, which is police and fire services, it's really sales tax and property tax. Property tax is very stable, sales tax not so much. And so really I think that the key indicator is going to be what your sales tax does, to be quite honest. And then I think the discussion that you'll have as the people that make or set the budget is, that obviously we know there's going to be, we don't know this, I shouldn't say that, but typically there's a little bit of an increase. Some years there may not be if the sales tax drops a lot, but then you can kind of set the priority, right? Like, let's say that we had an extra couple $100,000 available. Do you want to put more of that at a higher percentage to public safety than recreation or parks or those kind of things? And so it's kind of those questions will come into the discussion, I believe, at some point.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Colin?
Just a couple, working through this, kind of feeling with Matt that this is more of a way to kind of do a better budgeting, and especially in the future as we look at our whole city picture, we're going to have to do it that way, or we can blow it out of the water pretty fast. So I think this is a good idea and good way to approach it as we move forward. My question is when are we going to get the full joint venture agreement finished up?
Updated.
And we said we'd do it this time and it moved, and I know it's a process and it's going to take a while. I can understand that, but that's something we need to continue to put there and push that. So the whole joint venture agreement is locked in and not just living off of maybe.
Yeah. And I think Corey said the big thing that they're waiting for is they're actually, I think it's April, maybe it's May. They actually are going to do what they call a referendum vote, and they can actually opt out of paying Social Security. And they actually had that vote. I helped them administer that maybe 10 plus years ago, and they chose to stay in Social Security. But anyways, they're trying to have that referendum vote, and that can change quite a few things. And so I think that he'd like to get through that vote, figure out what that process is, and then hopefully finalize that contract.
I just wanted to help city council see that whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on that? All right.
And I probably should mention, whether you accept it or not, we'll just report that back right to that board, which really has 4 members. I don't know if the 4th member can vote on changes to the contract, though. I can't remember that.
Maybe not, yeah.
But anyways, just so you're aware.
Yeah. All right, so we have this before us then. Is there no other questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve this particular joint venture agreement for the fire department?
Mr. Mayor, I would
I
move
guess it would
that.
be the budgeting and funding language in the, yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
I would move that we approve the recommendation for budget and funding in the new joint venture agreement.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Councilmember Colin Erickson. Let's see. Well, this is the new budget and funding language in the joint venture. It's not really the new joint venture agreement, right? It's
just an addendum for the budget section.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay, thank you. Any further, let's see, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. We will go ahead and recommend this to the fire board. Which, by the way, in our meeting previous to this last one, we voted to call it the fire board instead of the emergency services board. Just they felt like that was better, Madison Fire Department board. So, all right, next item is the police facility bond update. We got Assistant Chief Gary Hagan here to give us a little update on that item.
I appreciate it. Mayor and council, I hope it's pretty quick so you guys can get out of here. So we just have about 5 updates that we're trying to be as transparent with the entire council as we can as far as what we're doing as a committee in meeting every week. And so we'd like to try to give you guys bi-weekly updates of where we're at with this new police facility bond. So we did hold a town hall meeting last Wednesday, March 18th, or sorry, 2 weeks ago on March 18th, where we engaged with community members to answer any questions. Unfortunately, we didn't get a huge turnout. I think there was only 3 that showed up. We definitely wish we could get more people engaged, but that's why we're holding as many of these as we can. We did have an open house on Monday as well at the police department. And again, we didn't have a very good turnout. We had all of our command staff there that were doing tours of the facility to answer questions and again, be as educational and as transparent as we can, because that's something that the public's really been hitting us on. So we do have a few more open houses. One would be scheduled for April 23rd, which is a Thursday, between 4 and 6 p.m. We also have another one scheduled for May 12th from 4 to 6 p.m. And we have a town hall meeting that's tentatively set for Saturday, May 2nd from 4 to 5 p.m. One thing that the committee that we spoke about was having and holding one of these open houses or a town hall meeting on a Saturday would be to give the community an opportunity on a non-work day on their own time to be able to come in and meet with us, and we can answer any questions that they have. This Friday, Chief Rhodes, in collaboration with Headwater and also Portman Square, are creating a virtual video. So they're going to be following Chief Rhodes through the police department. He's going to talk about what we are lacking, and it's going to be an educational video that we can post online to the social media platforms so that they can actually view those from home and they don't actually have to come in and see it in person. Which we think will be pretty big, we're hoping, with the community. So we've also recently increased our engagement efforts on our social media platforms. We're offering neighborhood meetings. You might have seen it on the social media platforms, but we're offering neighborhood meetings like we used to do when Councilman Erickson was a lieutenant in community policing, they would do what they would call block parties. And so it's just community engagement. And so we've actually had quite a few people reach out to us saying that they're willing to set something up so that we can come speak with them and engage with them about this bond and answer questions. And so that was actually a pretty big hit. And so I have to thank Matt and Councilman Erickson for coming up with those. We are working on creating a direct mail flyer that we can send to the residents. Was it Cole? Is that who? Yeah. Okay. Cole is working on creating I guess, a program that's going to hit just all community members. Before, what we had done was hit mailing routes. And so we had a lot that were in the county that received flyers as well. This will be designated to just the city of Rexburg.
Just city residents.
So
hopefully not send it out to ones that are like 2 blocks outside the Camp Ho, right?
Yeah, that was confusing for people.
Yeah. So one last update. We did update the site diagram plan. I know this is small, but I'm sure you guys have seen this. What I'm talking about is in a section here, because we have 4 divisions in our department. And for some reason, it was labeled shared. I think it was called shared building space, but we've now labeled that as community policing. So if you do see a difference on that, that is why, so that it reflects each one of our separate divisions. So
Yeah, and then we connected the entry to the parking lot on the north.
Correct.
Everybody kept saying, why is it not connected? So we connected it.
So, this is all the updates that we have for the committee at this time. And like I said, we'll bring more of those updates as we start rolling through the process, because I think we're close to about a month and a half before voting can take place. So is there any questions that I could answer for you? Or
Anyone have any questions for
I just have
Chief
one
Hagan?
comment. I just have one comment. Talking to Chief, just so everybody knows on the council and in the audience, when they had the Founders Day, I believe it's called at junior high, the old junior high.
Yes.
A lot of people came through the booth there and talked to him and I think you were there.
No, I was out of state.
But they were going through. So he answered a lot of stuff there that Saturday. He said it was very well turned out there.
That was great.
So that was a really good thing. That's what kind of felt like the next Monday is not very many people showed up here because a lot of questions were answered there. So just for your information.
Fair point. So,
And I just wanted to say, whoever your social media person is, they're awesome. I'm always chuckling when I'm reading fun stuff from them.
yeah, Sam Jekyll is one that primarily does that. So.
Yeah, so, and I really think that video is going to be key, especially where we seems to have trouble getting people into the department so they can see the challenges in the building and the business space. So I think going this social media route is a very smart thing. I'm excited to see the video and of course the fun comments.
I don't think
go along
Rose
with
is that
that.
excited to do the video, but I think
Yeah.
it'll be
It's the price of leadership, I guess, huh?
yeah.
Well, just for your information too, for those of you who weren't able to make it to the Farmer Merchant Banquet, Officer Jekyll and the department was honored for their social media. They won one of the prizes, I guess you'd say, for social media involvement with the city, which we thought was really cool. Yeah. So, well, thank you,
Mr. Mayor,
Chief Hagan. We appreciate. Oh, one more question. Sorry.
Comment, I guess. There is some scrutiny about advocating for this bond. There are those who are watching it very, very closely. So just as a caution, be sure that whatever you send out there is approved by whoever
So what
needs to approve
the
it.
committee has done with Portman Squares, they actually came up with a script of what we should say and be saying so that we don't cross that line into advocating versus educating.
Okay.
And that's also been approved by Spencer. So yeah, he's going to be very cautious of that Friday. So
yeah. Thanks. Okay, great. All right. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to item number 8, which is the mayor's business. Just real quick, I think it was suggested in the council meeting last time when I wasn't here to send a letter to Doug and Carol Ladle for spearheading that Founders Day event, and I did get a letter written to them thanking them for that, and so thank you for that suggestion. The America 250 concert. This tickets went on sale today, if you haven't heard, and I think I haven't looked at the last count, but within not too many hours, we had sold 400 or 500 tickets. So a lot of people are pretty excited about that. So hopefully that's going to continue to roll on and do very well for us. When I went to a cloud seeding meeting up in St. Anthony, the High Country Committee that I sit on the board with, and we talked about the water supply. I was going to just circulate this and let you look at it, but we do need to, when you get a chance, we do need to encourage our citizens to conserve water. I know it's been an early spring. A lot of people are, even with my business calling and saying, hey, we need to get our sprinklers on. Well, we need to encourage people not to jump the gun too much, because any water we use now is just going to be water that's not going to be available later in the summer. And we don't want to have to go to rationing, which could be a real possibility. If you look at this chart, this is the snow water equivalent, and this is kind of the median of where it is right now versus what it should be. And you can see that it's very low. We've got a couple of places where it's not too bad, 62%, but a lot of them 16%, 15%, and some of them are even zero. So there's no snow left really to turn into water. So water is going to be a big issue, and I'll pass that down and let you look at it, and then you can pass it back this way. But one of the things that I'm trying to encourage people is, if they feel like their lawn or whatever is dry, turn on the sprinkler system, soak it down once, and then turn it off again, because you really shouldn't need to water your lawn almost until Memorial Day. I've done that many, many years, and usually I can only water once in between spring and Memorial Day, and I'm fine. So
Yeah, my wife and I were reading your newsletter today, and you did a nice job on that.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was
Appreciate
really,
that.
really well done. So,
Okay, well, good. I hope folks will, because the tendency is, once you get your sprinkler system turned on, you just kind of let it go, and it comes on every night or every other night or whatever you've got it set at. You really don't need to do that early in the season. It's really kind of a waste of water. So until the lawn starts turning kind of that grayish color that you can tell it's really dry, that's when you need to water it, but not until. So yes, Colin.
So that's great information. Isn't there a date that we don't want them to start? Right?
Well, April 15th is kind of our
That's
typical date that
I've had some ask me, is why.
yeah, you want to, that's
read your meters.
yeah, that's when the meters are read, and that can affect the cost that you pay for sewer. So we just want people to be aware of that and be very cautious in using too much water early on, because we want to be able to conserve it for the later months when we really need it. So okay, that's all we'll say on that. We do have a couple of proclamations to read. One is the April as Fair Housing Month. I've asked Councilmember Tejan to read that, just so that you don't get sick of hearing me, because I've got another one to read. So Councilmember Tejan, would you go ahead and read this proclamation?
Yes, give me just a second. Just looking at that picture you sent. Sending it to Brianna so you can see it. Okay, April as Fair Housing Month. Whereas April 2026 marks the 58th anniversary of the passage of Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, commonly known as the Federal Fair Housing Act, and whereas the Idaho Human Rights Commission Act has prohibited discrimination in housing since 1969, and whereas equal opportunity for all, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familiar status, or national origin, is a fundamental goal of our nation, state, and city, and whereas equal access to housing is an important component of this goal, as fundamental as the right to equal education and employment, and whereas housing is a critical component of family and community health and stability, and whereas housing choice impacts our children's access to education, our ability to seek and retain employment options, the cultural benefits we enjoy, the extent of our exposure to crime and drugs, and the quality of health care we receive in emergencies, and whereas the laws of this nation and our states seek to ensure such quality of choice for all transactions involving housing, and whereas ongoing education, outreach, and monitoring are key to raising awareness of fair housing principles, practices, rights, and responsibilities, and whereas only through continued cooperation, commitment, and support of all Idahoans can barriers to fair housing be removed. Now therefore, I, Jerry Merrill, Mayor of Rexburg, do hereby proclaim April 2026 to be Fair Housing Month in the city of Rexburg.
All right, thank you very much. I will sign this if the council feels like ratifying this. So do I hear a motion to ratify this Fair housing proclamation.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve this fair housing proclamation, proclamation 2026-01.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Councilmember Riggins. All right, any further discussion or questions on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will go ahead and sign that. All right, the next one is the Arbor Day proclamation. And that one goes as follows. This is proclamation number 2025-02. Actually, is this supposed to be 2026-02? I would guess probably. Okay, yeah, we'll just make that change. All right. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving up paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Jerry Merrill, the mayor of the city of Rexburg, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026, as Arbor Day in the city of Rexburg, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations, adopted by the city of Rexburg, state of Idaho, on this first day of April 2026. All right, is there any questions about this proclamation?
So this isn't we're doing Flower Day? Is that how you say it?
Flower Day? Well, actually,
That's in May, right?
In May, yeah. This year, we're actually going to do both an Arbor Day celebration and the Flower Day. We've kind of always done Flower Day, which is a conglomeration of Arbor Day and Flower Day, because it's too early to plant flowers in April, right? So we've kind of put it off, and they give you that option for Arbor Day to put it off to when it fits your climate. But this year, we received that tree grant, if you recall, $1 million for planting trees. And so we are, on the 24th, we're actually doing a service project over at the Donjo field. We've got about 65 trees, pretty good sized trees coming in, ordered. And we're doing a service project where the Madison football team has expressed an interest, well, at least their coach has expressed an interest in having the football players come and do some community service. So they're planning to come that day. I would encourage any of you to come that day. And I've also put it on Just Serve as to have people come and help us plant those trees and spread mulch. And we're going to put a row of trees all along the, over there at the Donjo, where you've got that kind of empty field. We're going to put a row of trees all the way along between the field and the medical clinic, and then it'll curve and go down the road. So it'll kind of be a buffer for those apartment complex too.
That's April 24th.
April 24th. We'll start at 1 o'clock. Probably the majority of the work won't get rocking and rolling until maybe a couple hours later. We'll try to have all the materials and equipment, everything there. We'll go probably from 1 till 6. It's a big job, but we're hoping that we'll get a lot of volunteers, a lot of strong young men and women to come help us, and hopefully we can get a lot done in a small amount of time. So anyway, we're doing two. We're actually doing an actual Arbor Day celebration this year, and we will also do the Flower Day later on in May when we plant the flowers. And one of the things that I would like to encourage people is maybe get together with your neighborhood associations or your neighbors. I've asked the Parks Department to, when they order the flowers to plant on Main Street, that they try to find flowers that are red, white, and blue. So it goes with the America 250 celebration. And I think it would be fun if just in your neighborhoods, you kind of encourage that as well. So we can kind of turn the whole city into a red, white, and blue city. And we'll put out a little bit more information on that too. But But anyway, those are some of the things that we've got going on, and this proclamation actually needs to be ratified as well. So do I hear a motion to ratify this Arbor Day proclamation?
Motion. The proclamation number 2026-2 of the Arbor Day proclamation.
All right, thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Tejan. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. We will go ahead and sign these and get those on the way. All right, let's move on. Let's see, now I lost my agenda. Is this, no, hang on. Hang on. Oh, no, it's right in front of me here. I got too many papers going on here. All right. Item number 9 is 9A is a planning and zoning recommendation to approve a plat amendment for Yellowstone Heights condominium development located at 243 Ella Lane. This is amendment to add 6 condominium units to the existing plat. Mr. Parkinson, will you tell us a little bit about this item?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I was going to show you first where this is located at, so you knew. This is the property right here. We have, originally, this was designed to put 2 12-unit buildings on this side. These have been built. Then they were going to put a 12-unit and a 6-unit on this side. They came in, asked for a zone change so they could come in and change this from 12 and 6 to 12 and 12. So it's adding 6 additional units. These are condominiums, but to do this, they do need to amend that plat. And that is the one that she showed you. And now you can see that there is a 12-unit one and another 12-unit one. Staff has reviewed this. They meet all the requirements. Most of this was already designed. The roads, they've all had their approvals from ITD, from the city, sewer and water, all meets the requirements. And planning and zoning has recommended it to you for approval.
Okay, is there any, oh yes, go ahead.
Alan, you may have misspoke. This did not require a zone change.
They did a zone change earlier after they had built the 2 12-unit ones on the south. They came back to planning and zoning and city council and changed it from MDR1 to MDR2 so that they could then switch this from the 6-unit to the 12-unit.
Okay, and that we've approved
You've
that.
approved all of that, yes.
So this is just the plat amendment.
This is just
right?
accepting the plat.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Thank you for that clarification.
I just have
Yes.
one, probably not a question. The only thing I worry about, and it's not probably going to stop me, the only thing I worry about is the 7 parking spots across the street. Because this street's going to definitely go through. It's going to add in all the stuff to the east, clear back there. Like I say, county, you have 30-something parking stalls on this side anyway, so most people are going to stop there. I just worry about the 7 to make the zone right to do this. They have to have 7 on the south side of the street.
Correct.
So the people's crossing across that street. So there is going to be a crosswalk right there.
There will be a crosswalk up where the sidewalk crosses.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the only thing that kind of gave me a little bit of.
Yeah. And the code calls for anything within 500 feet. They can have parking on other property, on other lots, but this is all considered one lot, it's just split with the road.
It just worried me a little bit because that street's going to be a major one because there's a lot of property to the east. It's going to go right down that street and right out there. But like I say, they do have adequate on the other side most people can park there.
Is this, I'm trying to remember, is this street planned to, it's not going to go across the road tracks and connect over there?
That's the one out of Thompson.
It's a cul-de-sac on the end,
This
right?
one will continue to the
That would really
east.
bother me.
Yeah, that would make a big difference, yeah.
That one would end up requiring a stoplight when they put that one in.
Yeah,
But
okay.
this one will not.
Okay, all right.
Just so
Okay.
you know, there's lots.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Anyone? If there are none, I would entertain a motion to approve this plat amendment. Is there such a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the plat amendment for Yellowstone Heights condominium development.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Colin Erickson. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. That motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll move on. Thank you, Mr. Parkinson. We appreciate your help there. All right, item number 10, we have no second readings and we have no third readings. So that brings us to the consent calendar, which is the minutes from the March 9th and March 18th, 2026 meetings and the approval of paying the City of Rexburg bills. Is there any questions or comments about any bill items or minute corrections or anything like that? If there are none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Mayor, I'll make that motion to approve the consent calendar and pay our bills.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilmember Reeser. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will go ahead and enter the minutes and pay the bills. Just one quick thing, really quick, is I found this picture as I was going through some of the desk drawers in my office that hadn't been gone through for a long time. Councilmember Erickson, do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
This is,
In Porter Park.
yeah, this is the old Porter Park pool and the slide that was there.
That slide didn't last very.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can pass that down if you want. I just thought it was interesting and kind of fun to look at.
I got quite a few cuts on that slide.
Yeah, it was a little rough. You had to be kind of tough. Yeah, yeah, it was. So anyway, well, thanks everyone for all you do, and I appreciate all of you, and we will stand adjourned until next time. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Mrs. Geddes.
Question for you.
Yeah.